Oh, that's really loud. Good evening, everybody. We are kicking with the crew. We are back tonight. We are going to do a AFC South breakdown / prediction, and we're also going to go ahead to before we get into that, we're going to go and discuss over the schedule that was released this week. So I'm pretty sure everybody's pretty excited to know that we're going to go ahead and start the season with Jacksonville at home, and then we're going to go ahead and get into that. How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. Ready to be here. Ready to discuss business.
You're getting a lot of feedback, man.
I am.
Yeah, I think that's you.
All right. Give me 1 second.
What's up, Chad? It's good to see you, man. How you doing tonight? We got some technical difficulties, so everybody's trying to situate that right now. But here is the 2023 Indianapolis Colts schedule, which was released on Thursday evening. As everybody can see, we start the schedule off week 1 with Jacksonville, heading into Houston for week 2. Then we go to Baltimore for week 3. We come home to play LA for week 4. Week 5, we got Tennessee at home. And then Jacksonville in Jacksonville week 6. So, again, for some reason, schedulers tend to give us a lot of division games in the first few weeks of the season, where now we are starting the first 6 weeks with 4 division games. And then week 7, we got Cleveland. Week 8, we got New Orleans, both at home. Week 9, we're in Carolina. Week 10, we'll be playing in Germany against New England. And then we got the bye week, week 11. Week 12, Tampa Bay comes into Indy. Week 13, we go to Tennessee. Week 14, we go to Cincy. Week 15, Pittsburgh comes to town. Week 16, we go to Atlanta. Week 17, Vegas comes into Indy. And then week 18, we are playing Houston at home.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Nice.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait for the season. I know I missed a little bit of the intro, but I'm doing well. How's everybody doing? Appreciate everybody coming through. We'll get this spread out real quick here.
Man, I'm doing good, man. I'm just ready for the season, man.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Hey, Chad, make sure you drive home safe. We need you to get up on the Facebook comments when you get home. Nathan, how you doing, brother?
Mom, Dad, if you're watching, hope all is well. I just had dinner with you guys.
What'd y'all eat?
We went to a Mexican restaurant here in town.
I mean, you can't go wrong with that. You cannot go wrong with that.
Absolutely not.
Saw my
big old burritos.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Kind of saw my uncle, my aunt before they're getting married, so that's in June. That ought to be fun. But it was good seeing them.
Hell yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, I had to I took the boys out to the park and had them run around, blow some energy off.
So Nate's asking if anybody goes to games. Nate, I've been to one Colts game in my life. They played Cincinnati. It was Phillip Rivers' year. I'm not from Indy, so it's pretty hard for me to go to games. And then being in the Army, it's like I'm always away from wherever we're playing. So I think it was 2020. I happened to be in Kentucky at the time that Indy was playing Cincinnati, and I went with one of our old hosts, Andy. We went to the game together.
Yeah, I've been to quite a few games, but I've never been to Indianapolis. When I was younger a lot, I used to try and make it to the games that the Colts play against the Raiders and the 49ers because I was living out there in the Bay and then whenever they visit. So I've been to a few games there, and I'm proud to say that I've never been to a Colts game where we've lost. So I'm very proud of that. It's been all wins. The last one I went to was the one in Vegas when we beat the Raiders. And then I also went to the one in 2018, which was Andrew Luck's last game when Morley Cox had the one-handed catch in the back of the end zone. So no losses.
Damon and I are talking about possibly going to Houston, but it all depends with the new baby coming. So I might not be able to go, but we'll see.
I actually live in Indy, and I've gone to several Colts games. My wife and I went to a Patriots game a few years back when Gronkowski threw Greg Toller out the club.
I hated that game.
Me too. The most recent Colts game I went to, probably about, I don't know, 2019. And we were terrible. But I think it was Jacoby Brissett versus Atlanta. I don't know, whichever game that was, and Brissett diced up Atlanta. I'm taking my old man to most likely the Cincinnati Indianapolis game this year. That's going to happen. I'm either going to do that for Christmas gifts or just to get it done. But I've been to far more Colts games than I can remember just because I've been close and I'm spoiled like that at times. But, yeah, I've seen wins. I've seen losses. I've seen a lot of cool moments, but still not a ticket holder yet. Still not a ticket holder.
Well, they're expensive.
Yeah.
That's expensive.
I definitely, if I lived in Indianapolis, I'd for sure be a ticket holder. I'd go out all out and get that.
Nate, that's the goal, man. That's the goal right there. That's what we're aiming to do one day.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if we'll ever be able to get the in-person ones, but I'm definitely trying to get us in with everybody that I can to try and get some of these guys on for interviews and whatnot. So we'll see how it goes, but we're definitely trying to get more people and get more content for you guys and get some good interviews and stuff like that, and have people directly reach out to you guys. So we're trying to rise up to get to that point.
Yes, sir. So what's your first thoughts on the schedule?
I actually hate it.
Yeah, same here. So I mean, I feel like a lot of I don't know if it's like the NFL, the schedule makers, whatever it may be, the case may be. We always like the last few years, it's always been like, look at our divisional games.
Yep, four of the first six. Four of the
like-
first six, back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah, dude. By like week, was it okay? We do get the Titans a little bit later on one of them.
We have two.
But pretty much by week 6. I mean, the division is almost decided for us by that point.
Yeah.
So it's
just like last year. It was
exactly.
like by week 6.
Exactly. So it's like, I don't know why the NFL schedule makers do that to us every single time. I mean, they either want us to succeed really bad or to fail really bad, and I got the latter of it on those ones.
The way I think it is because I think the rest of the division is about the same. A lot of their division games are pretty early.
Are they? Well, I didn't check out which days their schedule was.
I think it's because the NFL knows this division's trash.
Yeah, they probably just wanted to get it out the way and just like, all right, you guys decided, and we'll just figure out the rest of it. I will say though, I do appreciate that they put our bye week kind of at the middle of the season, week 11. You know, I like that bye being there, kind of gives the first half and the second half.
I like it being after the overseas game.
Yeah, I think that's part of the new rules though. Like if you do play overseas, then your next week is a bye week.
It can't be because Jacksonville's got back-to-back overseas games.
But they're overseas for 2 consecutive weeks. That's why.
I think theirs is after that.
They don't after that second game they go on a bye.
Oh,
because
I didn't really see their schedule.
The competitive disadvantage would be traveling from England, jet lag, come back on a Monday, and then immediately turn around and play again on a Sunday. You're asking the body to do a lot.
Right, I'll tell you, jet lag's a myth. All right.
Speaking of a competitive disadvantage, the Bills, I want to say, are the only team in the NFL that doesn't play 3 games in the row on the road.
Well,
we don't either.
Yeah, we don't either.
Looking at our schedule, we don't either. We don't either.
I don't know if maybe it wasn't exactly that, but it was something where it's like
we've got
multiple away games or something like that.
Because we have 1 at home, then 2 away, 1 home, or 2 home, 1 away, 2 home, 1 away, or 2 away, 1 home. 2 away, 1 home, 1 away, 2 home. So I don't think it's really
Maybe I'm
that bad.
mistaken on what exactly it was, but
It's probably the verbiage.
they were the only team in the NFL or something that didn't have like something in their schedule. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Well, I can tell you,
Easy.
I see us starting off at least the first month, probably at best 2-2, in my opinion.
I was just about to say I'd love to be 2-2 through the first.
Yeah,
month.
2-2. I have us losing week 1, but just because I don't think we'll be firing on all cylinders week 1, there's going to be that grace period of growing pains.
I was hoping it'd be like, well, I don't know if Anthony Richardson's going to start week 1 or not, but I was hoping for the fact that if we did have a new mobile quarterback, it'd pretty much be a whole new system and scheme. We can kind of shake off the funk against Jacksonville. I was hoping that would be the case. Just like last year, they gave us the easiest opening day matchup, and we still couldn't pull out the win on opening day. So I'm hoping, being at home, we typically beat Jacksonville at home. I'm hoping we can kind of shake some funk there. You know how that goes. Thanks a lot, Kendrick. You'll lose a ton of games. I mean, none of us have said that we were going to win a lot. So
yeah, no, definitely. We're all definitely on the same page here.
Thank you for joining in tonight, though, being a new viewer.
Who's your team, Kendrick, so that I can at least send a shot back at you.
So I shared this everywhere because of the fact that we were going to be talking about other teams in the division. So I did share this everywhere. So we might get a little bit of trash talk tonight. So
that's fine. I got the bottle for that. We'll be all right.
Yeah, so
I'm always down for that.
Everywhere. But for the most part, I would like to say that looking at the teams that are on our schedule, the schedule is about as light as it gets.
It's the 30th out of 32 easiest strength of schedule.
I'm not even just talking about strength of schedule. I'm just talking about what I see overall from the teams. Like I don't like strength of schedule because teams can immediately flip. Like when we get into it, I got a lot to say about Houston, but just looking at the teams overall, from what I think they'll be, the schedule is not very difficult.
So I you said about Anthony Richardson starting week 1. Did y'all see the report that Frank Reich said that Bryce Young's not going to start week 1, or that he's not the starter? That
he's
right
not
now
the starter.
They named Andy Dalton the starter.
Yeah, he's
the week before he even came in for rookie minicamp.
Yeah, Andy Dalton is starting OTAs, even though Bryce Young will get majority of the reps. I just read an article on this. And Frank Reich wants Bryce Young to earn everything, earn every rep, earn every start.
You know what I think
all
that
of
is?
That. That's
you
the
know
man,
what I think
that's
that
the
is?
mentality behind it.
You know what I think that is? I think that's just a facade, because we all know how Frank is. He's going to tell you what you want to hear. I think Frank likes having that vet.
I mean,
I think it's just Frank not knowing what to do with quarterbacks. Like,
Yep.
If he doesn't already have his guy established, he just doesn't really know. Like, if you look at our situation with backups over the last few years, it's never been like any other situation. Like, everybody would go to QB2 on the roster. Not the Colts. They'll go, who's there, look through, kind of we'll see who the starter is, and just never knowing. And just like he got that question, if I remember correctly, I think it was from Greg Doyle or somebody. It says, Frank, you guys just seem like you really don't know what you're doing. Welcome to it, Carolina.
Yeah, I got a buddy of mine that I served with at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. He's from South Carolina, so he's an actual Panthers fan. And he's been posting up all the stuff about Carolina, and I just keep telling him, get ready for the Frank. Get ready for Frank.
Oh yeah,
get ready for it, because that's gonna be something that drives you nuts. And he was like, and I remember one time he answered back, and he was like, "Well, that was your organization." I was like, "Nah, man, that was not. That was Frank.
That was my coach.
We gave Frank everything he wanted, and he did not run with it. He did not at all.
Not at all.
But again, looking at the schedule, man, I don't think my prediction changes at all from what I was predicting early on at the end of the season, where we go anywhere between 6 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
If we go more than 8, I think that's a sign that we need to go get some top free agents next year. That's my opinion.
Go all in.
and go all in. Because if we go 6-8 with, I mean, honestly, this roster wasn't bad last year. I think the scheme just didn't fit the way it was built. So the NFL is seeing it as we just sucked and we were a mess. And we were a mess because we weren't schematically built for Matt Ryan. So, in my opinion, we could win more than 8 games, and maybe we don't have to go all in. I mean, Josh Downs, in my opinion, I told you guys when we talked about after the draft, we did our post-draft show, and I think it was you, DeMarco, who asked who was our favorite, who was our least favorite, whatever.
Yep.
And I told you guys my favorite was Josh Downs, and it's seeming to be, consistent that he's still my favorite draft pick.
No, he's gonna be a fan favorite.
Yeah,
easily. Yeah, I totally agree with you on the 6-8. I think for me, nothing has changed. And honestly, as much as the people who have hated on Anthony Richardson, I don't think we need any quarterback to come out and be a hero. Like, literally all this team needs is efficiency on offense. If we can at least be efficient, this is a very winnable schedule. We have a very well-rounded team. I wouldn't say that we have any names that just jump off the paper outside of JT and Buckner. But as we've seen in the past, this team, if we're well-rounded, we can easily be a very competitive team.
I do think we will be competitive. Yeah. I do think it'll be something similar to last year where we are competitive in every single game. Yeah. I don't think any of these games are going to be blowouts. To be fair, last year, most of our blowouts were from like the NFC East. And I mean, that weren't even blowouts. The only blowout was Dallas. And that was eventually the team just kind of laid down and said, screw it, just go. Let's get this game over with. But we didn't get blown out, really. How many times did we lose by 1 point last year or 2 points last year?
We lost by, I want to say, 7 times.
Yeah.
By one score.
17-16 was like the theme of our scores last year. So to be fair, I really think this team's going to be more competitive this year. Teams are going to have to score more points this year than they did last year to beat us. I do think our offense improved.
I think our defense is continuously builds.
Yeah.
I'm not for sure if it's going to be like last year where you knew you had a pretty dominant defense early.
Right.
But as long as that defense just stays steady and our offense is consistent, again, like I don't care about wins and losses this year. That means nothing to me. I just want to see, if Richardson's a guy from week 1, I just want to see steady and continuous development.
Right. We've been talking about that all off season.
Yeah, that's
all that matters. Yeah. That's all that matters.
I was just about to say, to your point, Zach, even if
with the bro, that drink messing you up over there?
Nah, it's gassing me up.
I saw your eye roll funny the one time.
Yeah, no, I had to burp. What was I going to say? The schedule. I felt like the teams that we play can still give us an opportunity to look a lot better than we did last year.
Right.
So it's like opening up with Jacksonville, who we seen Matt Ryan put up 30 on them. I mean, we obviously had the shutout last year where we just looked awful. And then we obviously got Texans who we can hang with easily. Baltimore may be a little bit of a challenge, but as long as our defense hangs in there, like you think about the game where we played Baltimore not last year, but 2 years ago, where we should have won that game. But Frank Wright didn't want to run the ball, and all of our corners got hurt, and Gus Bradley wanted to just try and go prevent the rest of the game, and we just got destroyed. So we ended up letting them back in that game. And then the Rams, we don't know what the Rams are going to be. So this first month of the season should be very optimistic for us. It should give us a lot of options to be able to see what this team can be and what our offense's capability can be.
Right. And if you really look across this schedule here, right, we've got Houston twice, Tennessee twice, right? That's 4 games right there that can go either way because both teams, Tennessee and Houston, you don't know what you're going to get out of either one, right? And arguably 2 of the worst wide receiving cores in the NFL, and both of them could potentially be starting rookie quarterbacks. So you don't really know what you're going to get out of those 2 teams. Then you got Carolina, who's going to also potentially by the time we play them, Bryce Young should be starting. So at that point, I mean, he's got they do have a decent wide receiving core over there, so they might be a little bit tougher. But then
And
you got
that defense is good.
Yeah, and then you got the Saints questionable at corner or at quarterback with Derek Carr.
I think the Saints are going to be very solid this year.
I think they're going to be solid. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be
You
really that flashy. They're just going to be the Raiders in New Orleans.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Well, with a better defense, Derek Carr has never had a good defense, and this Saints defense, I mean, they should be good.
Yeah, valid point.
You got Tampa,
and then you got Tampa. Tampa, we don't know who's their quarterback.
It might be my guy Kyle Trask, but I don't think Tampa's going to be very good.
I think it's Baker
because their O line. Oh yeah, I forgot they got Baker. Baker might beat out Trask, but
and then
Cleveland, you still don't know what you're going to get. Are you going to get Deshaun Watson from 3 years ago, or are you going to get Deshaun Watson from last year?
I think Deshaun Watson from
3 years ago.
I think he's going to turn it up this year. I think he's actually because he started playing better at the end of that stretch, and then if you think about the Browns just adding Zadarius Smith to that defense, that I don't know how, but they became terrible with all the talent that they had on that defense. They still got some good corners. I believe they had some injury issues. So I think the Browns should be better if Deshaun Watson goes to where I think he'll go. And maybe not 3 years ago, but I think a 10 to 15 tier quarterback. And I think that's all the Browns really need.
As long as he's better than last year.
Exactly.
I like Deshaun Watson, and I have no hate toward the Browns.
Outside of
if any.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Massage Watson like at all. So like
like I've said before, I don't get involved in their personal life. I could care less. To me, they're football players. They're products. I don't care anything about what they do.
I have no problem except when your personal life messes with your football life.
Yeah.
And if that's a fan I'm a team of, which I'm not, but if I was a Browns fan, ain't no way I could condone anything that Massage Watson.
No, not at all. Like I don't condone what Ben Roethlisberger was accused of either, or Ray Lewis was accused of either. But I don't care what they do on the field is different, and I liked what they did on the field.
Overall, I think this schedule offers a lot of potential. And then I joke and kid and say Week 17 is the 5th divisional game for the Colts because we played like Vegas. I mean the Raiders
we play the Raiders every year.
Every year since like 2017.
Yeah.
So
it's been before that, bro. I think it's been since
it's been since about 2017.
God, 2017 we played the Raiders every year.
It feels longer than that, man.
Because it was the 2016 season was the year we broke Derek Carr's leg.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we played them at the end of the year 2016, and then it's been every year
since.
Yeah, that's why it
used to be every 4 years because I used to switch off going to the Raiders or the Niners coming to or the Colts coming to California, which would be almost about every 2 to 3 years.
And that was the same way because that's how I knew when the Colts were going to play the Eagles because it used to be every 4 years. So I knew that like every 4 years, I'd be able to talk shit to my family. But
so now it's been a little bit.
The Raiders are the 5th divisional opponent in my opinion because we play them.
And that's a Jimmy G. That's Jimmy G down there, right?
Well, they could start the rookie too. Aiden O'Connell from Purdue.
No, they're not. They're not starting.
Jimmy G getting hurt much.
O'Connell may be starting that game.
Yeah,
Jimmy will be the starter to start the season. But I do want to say this schedule here. I think this is perfect for a rookie starting quarterback in our position. I just think it's not something that's like hella difficult. But you're playing some solid defenses where you can make some mistakes and learn.
So I'm gonna mark some. I'm gonna answer him or not him. Where's he at?
James.
Where's he at? James. I'm trying to get there.
There you go.
All right. Sorry, people were commenting as I was trying to click it. So James here says, hey guys, how do you think this Colts team is going to do this season? I think all of us are in agreement that we think it's going to be about a 6 to 8 win season. While all we expect is for these young guys to develop, You're going to see Anthony Richardson develop, maybe some chemistry with Josh Downs develop. I do think Michael Pittman could have a breakout season with having a quarterback who can get out of the pocket, extend plays. And Jonathan Taylor, I think, is still going to have, a Jonathan Taylor-esque season. That's my thing. As long as I can see that these guys are performing at the level that they should, the offensive line gets back to what we know they are, I think it's a good season in my opinion, even if we're in between that 6 to 8 win marker, because I do think that 6 to 8 wins is going to get us at least second in the division. And we will get to the division because tonight is our division breakdown predictions. So we will get to that point here in a few minutes, but we're going to continue as people are asking questions.
Yo, hot take. I think we win 9 games this year. Like,
that is a hot take.
Like, I think it's legit capable of Indianapolis winning 9 games this year.
Zach, off the top of your head, fire me some hot takes real quick. Who's your 9 wins?
9 wins. Jacksonville.
Gotcha.
I think we sweep Tennessee twice.
Okay.
That's 3.
I think we take Houston.
Gotcha. 4.
Once. I think we beat Atlanta.
Gotcha. 5.
I think we beat Tampa.
6.
I think we take Carolina.
7.
I have us beating Pittsburgh because we won it more.
We haven't won there since 07.
That's why I think we beat Pittsburgh, because we won it more.
That's 8.
And then I also think we beat the Rams.
That's 9.
You think we don't beat Atlanta? Because if I'm counting off,
I said we beat Atlanta.
Okay.
Hey, I got no problem with that at all. I can definitely see it. The only one that I would disagree with is the Pittsburgh one.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's the one I have circled on my calendar, to be honest. Because
that's the game. As a fan, that's the game I really want, because that's the monkey I want to get off the back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, it's the one team that literally has put their nuts on our forehead every year
time.
Since like 90 forever.
2008.
Since 2008.
Yeah.
But here's the thing too. They always put it at the end of the season. Like, we can't get the monkey off the back in like week 3.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to play the Steelers week 3 though.
Not this year.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying it's always been like that. Like, it's always after week 7. Or
the crazy part about that is, though, if Michael Pittman Jr. finishes out his slant, or if we don't have a couple drops in that game, or if we just get a freaking first down, we beat the Steelers last year. Just like execution level last year, just against the Steelers and maybe a few other teams, we should have literally beat them.
If we didn't lay down in the second half with Phillip Rivers, we would have beat Pittsburgh.
Man, for real.
We
were destroying them.
Oh yeah, cooking them.
It was them. That year. That year we were cooking them. We were cooking Baltimore. We were cooking the Packers.
So
we beat the Packers, but that was in overtime.
We finished that one.
Yeah, but that was in overtime.
Yeah. Well, we came back. We came back that game. So we actually came back and beat them.
Yeah. That's right.
Usually it was the other way around.
I know that Baltimore, we were cooking them in the first half, and then
came
Pittsburgh, we were destroying them in the first half.
And then they came back.
That was Frank Reich's best called offensive game of the year. That Pittsburgh game in the first half,
and then he just stopped running the ball
because Matt was in the group chat bitching about how he had nothing to complain about because Frank had called the perfect game in the first half.
Until he forgot he had Jonathan Taylor.
Right, and then in the second half, he stopped. Matt called it. He stopped running the ball. Matt goes, "We're going to lose this game." And then they ripped off like 14 straight points and beat us. And Matt was like, "I'm done with Frank Reich. Done." Yep. And that was like the first week of every week the rest of the year, all off season until he was fired, where Matt was all like, "I've seen enough. Fire him. Move on."
We've never had a coach in Colts history have more fourth quarter giveaways than Frank Reich.
I remember starting to hate him when we lost 6-0 to Jacksonville in 2018. But the Phillip Rivers year was the year that I was really like, okay, I am done with Frank Reich. That was the year that I was literally done, because in 2019 we had Jacoby Brissett, so I kind of gave him that slide that his quarterback just retired before the season. Hi, Stacy.
Hi, Stacey. Yeah, this is Andy KZL5.
Thank you for coming in tonight.
And then it was like 2020 when we could have potentially been like 12-4 or 13-3 if we didn't let up fourth quarter comebacks.
So you want to know the two sad parts about that season is the Steelers were 11-0, and then they lost. I forgot who they lost to, but I had predicted the loss. And then down the stretch, they went 1-4. Their one win was against us.
Yeah,
which is sad. And then the game about the Bills that you were talking about that we ended up losing. Literally, we were about this far away from Michael Pittman Jr.'s outstretched hands from catching the ball from Phillip Rivers from beating the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. And we could have probably blew up their whole team 3 years ago.
Yep. I mean, if Phillip Rivers would have came back, bro, I think a second year with him would have been amazing.
I think so as well.
Would have been amazing.
Because we would have drafted our offense completely differently.
Oh,
We would have had a first-round pick that season.
Oh, yeah. No offense to Carson, because I do think Carson had a good season with us.
Agreed.
I mean, we went 9-8. We only lost one more game than we did with Phillip Rivers. It's just
2 more.
Well, 2 more, but it kind of balances out. I mean, we went what 10-6 with Phillip.
Yeah.
No,
and then 9-8 with Carson, because that was the new change to the.
No, we went 11-5.
No, I think we went. Are you sure? I thought we went 10-6.
No, because we were tied with the Titans, and we ended up losing the division because we tied. And if we would have,
what was that 2020?
Yeah, 2020. If we would have won one more game, we would have won the division. And that's why everybody was clowning us.
Oh, we did.
You guys lost to Jacksonville week 1. You could have won the division.
We lost by like 3 too, didn't we? Like it was like 23-20.
27-24.
That was their only win, and Jacksonville went on to lose 15 straight, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. And everybody tried to clown us. Jags were the division leaders for 1 week, and you guys lost to the Jags. We got trashed so bad.
Now look at them. I think Titans got swept by the Jags last year.
They did.
All right, so James here says, how do you think the defense is going to do with some of the players we lost on defense? To be fair, we lost Stephon Gilmore. I do think our linebacker core, we lost Bobby Okereke, but he got replaced. Don't correct the saying. I know it's Okereke. I like Okereke. It sounds better. But he's replaced easily by either EJ Speed or Zaire Franklin. I think Shaq is going to come back. He's getting overhyped on everything, so I truly think he's going to be back by week 1. Our defensive front, in my opinion, has gotten stronger. I think the biggest questions are in corners, but I think Isaiah Rodgers is a solid starter on the outside that should have been starting all year last year. Who do we have on the other side?
That's the thing. We got Burks, Rush.
Right. That's right. The other side's the questionable one.
Whatever the other corner we drafted, or Dallas Flowers. I mean, to me, the biggest question mark is who are the corners, because who plays the outside besides Rodgers? Because Kenny Moore's in the slot, and it's Rush or Burks is going to play that outside left side or right side corner. I don't even know if they travel in this defense, but
I think Kenny Moore is going to step it up. So I think we'll get the Kenny Moore of about two years ago.
That'd be awesome. He's a Pro Bowler.
To be honest, I think last year he had too many distractions when it came to contract talks. And I think this year, during the offseason, when he was put up on the trade block and nobody wanted him, and then the Colts were like, all right, well, you're staying here. I think he got humbled.
Yeah, humbles you a bit.
Yep. So I think he's at that point where he's like, okay, this is where I need to put up or shut up. And I think we're going to get Kenny Moore back. And I hope so, man, because I loved Kenny Moore. I remember when we did this show in 2020, we picked our dark horses for the offensive and defense. And that year I picked Kenny Moore for defense and Zach Pascal for offense. I like Kenny Moore. I have his jersey in my closet. I hope that man steps up and comes back.
Yeah, so my personal opinion, I don't I can't really see the defense really changing too much at all, to be perfectly honest with you guys. I think what we lost in Gilmore is with the experience that we made up for with youth and athleticism that we'll gain at cornerback. Personally,
Now,
I believe so. I believe putting in younger, more athletic guys and more youthful guys, maybe you'll see some kind of inexperienced plays, but over the season you'll definitely see some changes. In the way that we see cornerbacks coming into the league right now, I see them playing very well. You look at a guy like Juju Brents and who he had to play against last year, playing against that TCU team that has some pretty good receivers, going to making the playoffs and stuff like that. And then you look at our guys like Darius Rush out of South Carolina. These guys have played against very good competition, and you look at the speed that Darius Brent has as well. I mean, I feel like a lot of the stuff that we'll get from these other rookie corners will make up for it. And then also with Samson Ibukum coming in, who I think is a more balanced player than we had with Yannick Ndakwe, I think that really works in our favor as well. My biggest thing for us will be if Kwity Paye can stay healthy, this defense is nasty.
And Tyquan Lewis.
Yeah.
And Tyquan Lewis. I'll tell you what.
The better our rotation is, the better we
I think defensively, if Tyquan Lewis stays healthy, he's my dark horse defensively this year. I've said it multiple years. Zach can vouch for it. I know DeMarco's heard me say it last year. Tyquan Lewis is our best edge sealer. He's not an edge rusher, so don't expect him to come in and rush the quarterback.
I kind of feel like that's a half-true statement because in this defense, more especially, it's more focused on contain and sealing the edge, where in Eberflus's cover 2, it was get to the quarterback as fast as possible. We don't give a damn about it. But Tyquan Lewis was also the one who was more cognitively aware than others and personally took it on himself to
that's why I think he's our best
to
edge
contain
sealer.
the edge.
That's why it sucks for us to lose him the last 2 years in a row.
That like if you look at certain teams that we played, like Tennessee, we played better with Tyquan Lewis on the field because Ryan Tannehill's that guy that does that, play action bootleg. And if Tyquan Lewis is on the field, Ryan Tannehill doesn't run down the field for 14 yards on 3rd and 8 and get that first down. You know what I'm saying?
And
I've seen Tyquan Lewis do it multiple times to where he was the sole reason why those quarterbacks weren't able to be successful in that type of play.
And that's another reason why I appreciate some of the speed that we're adding to the defense. As much as I love Bobby Okereke, having a guy like EJ Speed that can run sideline to sideline is going to be very helpful for us. And adding Adebare to this defense as well, who's a very fast defensive
Adebare.
Yeah, Tommy Adebare. Adding him to this defense, I think, would be very good for us as well with our corners. Just having that speed is something that I think that'll be very helpful for us, and a lot of size, a lot of athletes on the field. So I think I see that even the pieces that we lost on defense, pretty much being Yannick Ndakwe and Stephon Gilmore, I think we made up for it with youth and athleticism.
I think there will be some growing pains. Expect that. I expect early on corners are going to make mistakes. Corners are going to get burned. Some of these other players might make some mistakes. We don't have a lot of youth in the front. I think the front's going to be all right, but on the back end, we're definitely going to have some growing pains.
I don't even know how much we'll get burned if we have.
I think there's enough overall depth from the guys who've experienced that they can plug and play guys in unique situations.
Exactly.
Like Blackman,
we won't get burned.
Yeah, Blackman can play nickel. Kenny can play outside and play deep third. And then Thomas is a dog to play center. And then you can put the we just were talking about it. Put Isaiah Rodgers out there on the outside, and I think we could honestly that could be the corner situation for a while until the young pups, whoever that young guy is who steps up, and then hopefully we see a big step out of Nick Cross because he's supposedly going to be a huge key piece going forward for this defense.
As long as Kenny Moore doesn't get burned by tight ends next season, I'm all right.
Fair enough.
Because that happens a lot.
Hey, that's why we brought in competition. Jalen Jones will be right there ready to play. So
he's another one who's a stud. I mean, Ballard did what Ballard does. Well, I mean, masterclass. His draft was masterclass, man.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, so you guys ready to move on to the division?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to go in order of how the division finished. We're going to go Jacksonville, Tennessee, and then Houston. We're not going to break down the Colts because clearly we can do that every Saturday.
We've already done that.
Yeah, a bunch of times. So we're going to go ahead and start with Jacksonville, which is me this week. So I went ahead and broke down Jacksonville. So we're going to go ahead and go straight into it. So last year they started 2-6. If anybody doesn't remember, they started 2-6. They ended 7-2. So they definitely improved as the season went on. They finished the season with 10th in total offense, 10th in passing, 9th in third down conversions, and 14th in rushing. I think they were 14th in rushing with one real running back. They had James Robinson, but they ended up getting rid of him through, partway through the season. ETN kind of led the way that, after missing 5 games. They ended with 9-8 as division champions. And they were 10th in points for and 12th in points against. So their rushing leader was Travis Etienne. He had 220 attempts, 1,125 yards, 5 touchdowns. I have notes just so everybody's tracking. All right, I'm going to be reading off these notes because I don't remember. All right, so it's 1,125 yards. He had 5 touchdowns. He was 5.1 yards per attempt and 66.2 yards per game. He also missed 5 games. So,
yo, what's up, Dewey?
He also had 45 targets with 35 receptions, 316 yards, and then 0 receiving touchdowns. But he also had 5 fumbles. And then he was the third best rusher behind him in Tennessee or in Jacksonville was Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, I don't know where this came from, but this man had 62 rushing attempts.
Bro, he was a running back after NTN went down.
Yeah.
Like that's all he did was pretty much he either chucked it or it was some form of him running the ball.
Yeah, he had 62 rushing attempts, 291 yards, and 5 touchdowns. The receiving core, all right, so they gave big money to Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk had his career high. He had 84 receptions, 1,108 yards, 13.2 yards per reception, 8 touchdowns. He had a 63.2% catch rate. Zay Jones also had career highs where he had 82 receptions, 823 yards, 10 yards per reception, 5 touchdowns, 5.1 yards per reception, 67.8% complete catch rate. Evan Ingram added 73 receptions, 766 yards, 10.5 yards per reception, 4 touchdowns, and then 74.5 completion percentage. And then Marvin Jones was 46 receptions, 529 yards, and he had 3 touchdowns. I believe that this was the first time in franchise history where they had 3 receivers that had over 70 receptions. That's including Evan Ingram.
That's nuts.
Yeah, so to keep it on offense, in my opinion, so they've also they're getting Calvin Ridley back this season.
Right.
Calvin Ridley is one of 6 players where in the first 3 years of their career that they had 3,000 receiving yards and 25 touchdowns. The other 5 receivers that have had that stat are Kelsey, Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, and Tyler Lockett. So he's in a good conversation with some top 5 receivers, in my opinion. So getting him back is definitely going to increase that offense, in my opinion. It's going to improve them. Trevor Lawrence is one of 9 QBs last year to surpass 4,000 yards. He set a franchise record in completions of 387. He's the first time in franchise history to have 3 receivers with over 70 receptions. One of 3 QBs with 25 passing touchdowns and 5 rushing touchdowns. He also joined Mike Vick in being a first overall pick, or as the youngest first overall pick to get his first playoff win before he was 24.
Nice.
The biggest questions around Jacksonville are defensively. Their leading tackler was, I don't know how to say his name, Alokan. He was 184 tackles. He had 128 solo with 9 QB hits and 2 sacks. He was their tackle leader. Then their second leading tackler was Rayshawn Jenkins. He also had 3 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 116 tackles,
Strong
73. Yeah, 73 solo, 2 QB hits, 1 safety. And then Devin Lloyd had 3 interceptions. He had 115 tackles, 59 solo, 2 QB hits. They had 14 total interceptions with 18 fumble recoveries and 35 sacks. Their draft picks. So I liked their first 3 draft picks, in my opinion, and then everywhere else just kind of got staggered. They went offensive tackle with Anton Harrison, which I like because Trevor Lawrence was sacked, 27 times, and seeing that he rushed 62 times, in my opinion, that kind of goes on the offensive line. Then they went with a tight end of Brenton Strange. I didn't really like that one. I mean, I said I liked the first 3, but having Evan Ingram, I don't know how much adding a tight end to that really helps their offense.
Ingram doesn't really block well.
I want to
That's
say
a valid
he
point.
didn't show up for training camp. He wants a contract.
He signed a franchise tag.
He did. He signed a franchise tag. Yeah. And then they drafted running back Tank Bigsby. Don't know much about him.
I like Tanks Bigsby.
So I know they needed another running back behind ETN. So, and then they went linebacker Ventrell Miller,
That's my guy.
edge Tyler Lacey, another edge Razir Abdullah, cornerback Ontario Johnson, wide receiver Parker Washington, cornerback Christian Broswell, safety Eric Hallett, offensive tackle Cooper Hodges, defensive tackle Raymond Vahesek, and then edge Derek Parrish. So they actually ended up with 13 draft picks. They had more than we did. So everybody knows they went to the wild card last year. Finished. They started 27-0, or they were losing 27-0 to the Chargers. In the first half, Lawrence threw 4 picks, and then in the second half they came back where Lawrence threw 3 touchdowns in the second half, and the Jags won 31-30. The important thing to remember about that is their defense still didn't force any turnovers. So somehow a team came back without forcing any turnovers.
That's because Brandon Staley coaches the Chargers.
Yeah. In my opinion, the Jags are still the best team in the division. I do think their offense got better, especially having Calvin Ridley come back. Trevor Lawrence really came into himself last year in the second half of the season, and that's my opinion.
Yeah, they sure up that O-line. That offense will be around for a while.
Yeah, I do think they swung and missed a few times on the defense. That's just me. They kind of left it a little out there.
Yeah, they need a more pass rush. I'm amazed they haven't went and said, "Hey, yo, Yannick, you want to come back to Jacksonville?"
Yeah,
just because that's where he got drafted, and I mean they could probably afford him because Trevor Lawrence is cheap. Right now,
yeah, and then you can't forget they have Doug Peterson as their head coach.
Yeah.
So that's probably the key thing. Doug Peterson turned that team around last year, and I think this year they're gonna keep riding it. So
yeah,
I think it just goes to show with that Jacksonville team, as much as we've listened to you here rattle off some of those stats and whatnot, and how the defense wasn't really forcing turnovers, and even how they came out to win a playoff game. Much can be said about having competency at quarterback. If you can have solid quarterback play, your team can look a lot better and turn things around if things are played out well and smart at that position who touches the ball every single down.
right.
Yeah.
And I think getting Calvin Ridley back is going to impact some of these guys.
And when Matt is saying getting Calvin Ridley back, for anybody who doesn't know, they traded for Calvin Ridley from the Atlanta Falcons, who was suspended last year for gambling with the Atlanta Falcons. And now this will be his first season with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Correct. And I think the way that's going to go is Calvin Ridley's going to become the wide receiver 1. And I think Christian Kirk slides over to wide receiver 2. And then I think Zay Jones stays wide receiver 3. I don't know what's going to happen with Marvin Jones, but he was mediocre last season.
I believe he went back to Detroit, if I'm Correct.
I wasn't tracking all the free agent movings.
Yeah, no, I'm not exactly sure, but I think he did go back to Detroit, but I'm not 100% sure.
Marvin Jones unsigned as of April. So yeah, he's
But he
not there
started.
anymore.
He started his career in Cincinnati, but dude was old when he was in Detroit, and like I'm sure he's older in Jacksonville, so it'll be.
Well, he kind of
interesting to see what happens.
He got pushed out of Detroit because Detroit used to draft wide receivers like they grew on trees.
Right.
So he kind of just fell out of rotation there.
Right. Who's next?
Tennessee.
Oh, yes.
He took notes too. I know he's got notes too.
And I got notes front and back. All
yeah,
right.
me too, man. I front and back, baby.
Tennessee, where to begin? Oh, the Tennessee Titans. So Tennessee went 7-10 last year, and they finished second in the division. Their offense was 30th in the league in passing, 13th in the league in rushing, and their total offense was 30th in NFL. Ryan Tannehill only threw for 2,563 yards, 13 TDs, and 6 picks. Derrick Henry was still Derrick Henry last year. 1,538 yards, 13 TDs, and he averaged 96.7 yards per game. That's still very impressive.
Don't forget all the fumbles.
True. I think he had 4 or 5, something like that.
Very uncharacteristic for him.
True. Tennessee's leading receiver isn't even on the team anymore. He's now playing for a division rival. Robert Woods. He had 527 yards and 2 touchdowns on the year. The guy they traded Antonio Brown for, Traylon Brooks. He had 444 yards and 1 touchdown.
You meant AJ Brown.
Yeah. Did I say Antonio Brown?
No. He meant Traylon Burks.
Yeah.
No. He said Antonio Brown.
I thought he said Traylon Brown.
No, he said they traded Antonio Brown. And I was like,
gotcha.
I had to think. I was like, what?
They have other key weapons, but they really didn't do anything. They spent high draft capital on Cheeky Okongwu from tight end from Maryland last year.
Very solid tight end.
Yeah, he had a solid rookie year, but for whatever reason, Tennessee just didn't throw at him. When they did, he made plays. He had a couple big games versus us, or a game versus us that he was solid, but they just didn't throw at him. They drafted Hassan Haskins, big old running back from Michigan. He was solid in the third down role, the second down, the second back.
Yep.
And then they have Nick
Akina Westbrook.
Yeah, Nick Akina Westbrook from IU. If you're an IU fan, you know that name.
He killed us too in a game.
But, yeah, he's a possession receiver. Receiving-wise, Tennessee doesn't have much. And it showed. Offensively, they struggled last year. It was work. It was terrible. It was work on offense.
They also did nothing to improve it.
They did a few things. They
drafted a running back.
And Skoronski.
Fixed the offensive line.
They fixed the offensive line.
I mean, that's very important to what they do is fixing that offensive line because that's what Tennessee runs off of. Their offensive line and Derrick Henry and that play action pass game. So the fact that their offensive line was bad last year, you got to fix that offensive line.
Defense was just like the offense. In areas, truly terrible. They were first in the league against the run. You couldn't run on Tennessee. But they were dead last in the league in passing the ball. So if you wanted to beat Tennessee, it was spinning the magic bean, throwing the pumpkin.
Their defense was definitely hit with the injury bug too.
Yeah.
Jeff Simmons and a bunch of rookies.
A lot of injuries.
Yep.
They had arguably the most underrated safety in the NFL. Kevin Byard. He had
the best safety in the NFL, in my opinion.
Derwin James.
No. Kevin Byard to me is a better safety.
He had 69 solo tackles, 108 combination tackles, 4 INTs. That were his stats on the year, so it was a solid year. Jeffrey Simmons had 7.5 sacks.
Monster.
25 solo tackles, 54 tackles.
So Jeffrey Simmons scares me more than anyone else on that team.
Anybody more than
I don't care. I know they got Derrick Henry, but Jeffrey Simmons scares me more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jeffrey Simmons is a generational defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Facts.
I think the dude is an absolute monster and game changer. I don't care what his stats say. I think the dude is an absolute dog. And then
He disrupts everything.
Any Sunday you got to face him, best believe your team ain't running the ball and your quarterback might get killed.
Yep.
So,
Facts.
DeMarcus Walker.
Don't know who that is.
Don't know who that is.
That's a linebacker, right?
Yeah. Linebacker D end.
So he didn't play too much. They had to play a lot of rookies.
23 solo tackles, 32 tackles, but he had 7 sacks in 8 games.
Yeah.
What in the world? Like
that's very cool.
7 sacks in 8 games. That was a bright spot on defense. And then they had former Colt D'Amico Autry, who had 8 sacks and 17 tackles, and he's still putting up production.
So that problem right there, Zach, is what you were talking about before. It's like they could stop the run, but they were terrible in the pass. So they'd get you on 3rd and 17, and you could still throw for a first down. That's why the guy had 7 sacks in 8 games.
They had other guys who were consistent, but they were consistent and consistently getting burned. They have Fulton, the corner. I don't even care to know his name. He was pretty trash.
Christian Fulton.
They have McCreary.
That's supposed to be their next guy.
He was nice. I'm not gonna lie. He was nice last year. He was nice. They have Eli Molden. He broke his back, I guess, when they drafted him last year.
Wrong one.
Molden? I thought he was
no, Caleb Farley is the guy with the.
He's trash too.
Elijah Molden was their slot corner.
He's a dog. He's a dog. And then they've added a few pieces. They have a solid safety to go along with Bayard and Amari Hooker, who
he got hurt.
He does well, but you're right. He was hurt half the year. Sacks last year on offense, they gave up the 5th most sacks in the NFL. I did not know that, with 49.
That offensive line was horrid.
Yeah. And then defensive sacks, they were tied in the league for 18th with 39.
On defense?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, tied for the league, 18th, only 39 sacks.
Damn.
What really hurt Tennessee, and this goes without unsaid, and I didn't know this, so I wrote it down, an interesting fact. Tennessee was penalized the 4th most in the NFL at 111 times, but they gave up 2nd most yards, almost 1,000 yards in penalty yards on the season at 956 yards.
Yeah, that was that young, inexperienced secondary.
Yeah. Tennessee's draft, their 1st-round pick, they drafted Peter Skoronsky, who they're going to play at left tackle. They drafted everyone's favorite Will Levis, quarterback from Kentucky.
Mayo Levis, baby.
They drafted a running back, Tajay Spears,
from so dumb.
Tulane. More power.
He's got no ACL, but everybody loves him.
Should have went wide receiver there.
Well, they drafted another tight end, Josh Weil from Cincinnati.
I didn't understand that.
Still have no tight ends.
J. Lee Duncan, another tackle. And then, with their last pick, here's your receiver. Colton Dowell, wide receiver.
Ooh.
Who's that?
Right, I have no clue. And then key free agent additions. These were guys who were notable, who I thought might actually make a difference and possibly bring some stability and improvement. Andre Dillard, they signed.
I like that move. I like that.
Formerly of the Philadelphia 76ers or Philadelphia Eagles. My bad.
Yeah, he's gonna be there. He's gonna be their right tackle. I really like that.
Right
tackle.
I really like that move. I think Andre Dillard was primed to come in and play. He was a swing tackle for the Eagles.
They signed another tackle, and he's an interior offensive lineman as well. Daniel Brusco from San Francisco. Swing tackle, 3rd tackle. They signed a special teams ace and Luke Gifford. Another vastly underrated linebacker from San Francisco who gets no love, Azeez Al-Shahir.
That's the guy that a lot of people are ranking him better than our Samson Ebukam.
Right.
To be a pass rusher.
Here's the one where PFF gave this guy an incredibly high grade for situational pass rushing, and that's Arden Key formerly of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I don't know who he is.
He's a solid player, but he's just never consistent. But he's solid though.
They added a really solid corner from Arizona and Sean Murphy Bunting.
No, Tampa Bay.
Was it Tampa?
Tampa Bay.
And then they went out and signed veteran wide receiver Chris Moore from Seattle. And
it's just a deep threat.
Right. And linebacker Ben Nealon. Overall, I don't think Tennessee addressed their main issue, which is who the hell they throwing the ball to? But, I mean, overall, defensively, I think this team is going to be vastly better than they were last year because they have a bunch of young guys who's gained experience. And then they got guys who fit into what they do, which is get after you and shut your run game down, and then they zone blitz the hell out of you on defense.
My thoughts on Tennessee is that it comes simple as this. They're the most basic, simple team in the NFL, in my opinion. But their success is going to come from 4 different areas, right? Or 4 different names. 1, Kevin Byard.
Yep.
2, Jeffrey Simmons. 3, Derrick Henry. And 4, Mike Vrabel. In my opinion, Mike Vrabel is a top 3 head coach in the NFL, not in the AFC South, in the NFL. I like Mike Vrabel as a head coach. I've seen a lot of things that he does when it comes to practice. He's hands-on, man. He's not a clipboard coach at all. I absolutely love what he does when he's with the team. He's definitely a team coach. It's why you saw, J-Rob get fired and Vrabel did not. Because you can give Vrabel any style team and he's going to be able to coach it. Tennessee has never had a team that was jumped off the page.
Yep.
Right? They never did. They always had massive holes in certain areas.
It's fair to say Tennessee is the Jeff Fisher of football teams. Strong defense, incredible run game, because that's literally what Jeff Fisher did.
And very well coached.
Right. Yeah.
I was just about to say they still can't be disrespected, though, because of everything that you named. The thing that you can't deny is that Vrabel always says, I'll take heart over talent every single day.
Yeah.
Right.
He'll coach you as long as you're going to play hard. So regardless of what they do, as long as they fix that offensive line, can get back to their play action pass, they're going to play hard on defense, and they're going to try and run the ball down your throat regardless. All they need is receivers to catch a few play action passes a game. They don't care if they got to throw it 8 times a game to beat you and punch you.
All they need is 2 to 3 yard completions and then a 7-yard run from Derrick Henry, which is almost a guarantee. That's it. So, again, I do think, I've heard around the NFL, I've heard a lot of different things of people saying that Tennessee is trash, they're garbage, all this. And, yeah, they may be on paper, but they are, to me, they're the best coach team in the NFL.
I can't say they're the best coach because
I was just about to say I wouldn't say best coach, but I would say the toughest coached.
Yeah, right. Okay, we can go with that. Yeah, that's fine.
Toughest coached.
I just love Mike Vrabel. I know that everyone hates him. I know that Damon hates him. Damon wants bad things to happen to him, but
I think it's because he's a coach of Tennessee. If he was coaching elsewhere, I think his opinion would change.
Yeah,
because he's in the division is why everyone hates Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, I think dude is just legit.
Yeah,
I tell Tennessee Titans fans every time somebody talks about he might get fired, blah blah blah. I'll be like, I'll take him.
Yeah, I'll take him right now.
I will.
Look, Shane doesn't even. If you fire Mike Vrabel today, Shane doesn't even start his first year as a head coach because he's getting fired and Mike Vrabel's coming in.
Yeah, I was like, I'll trade you, boy. Imagine Chris Ballard giving talent to Mike Vrabel. Oh my God.
Yo, Vrabel wouldn't know what to do with it.
No, he would.
He would coach it.
He'd know exactly what to do with it is the problem.
He would coach it, but he wouldn't know what to do with the amount of talent. I have too much of it.
He'd be like, God damn, Chris, give me a dud every once in a while.
We got to give this away. Right.
Hey, can you play J-Rob real quick? What
I mean, that's an embarrassment of riches in that aspect if that were to actually happen.
Facts. All right, Houston.
All right, so before I get started here,
He has no
I
notes.
said,
This guy's gonna go right off
I
top of his
said,
head.
I'm telling you, look, so I had sent something to the group chat, and everybody knows, like, I really love Shane Steichen as a coach. But as many people who down this division, I just want to point out to everybody, I honestly feel we have the fourth best head coach in this division. We have Mike Vrabel, as we just discussed, who I think is the best coach in this division. We have Doug Peterson, who I feel is the second best coach with the
I
experience.
gave him some
He's
music.
Super Bowl champion. This guy has been legit throughout his tenure, regardless of coach. And then I put D'Amico Ryans above our guy Steichen because of the fact that D'Amico Ryans was my number one head coach to have for the Indianapolis Colts. He ended up going to the Houston Texans. And our coach, who I think will still be a very good coach, is number 4.
If
So
you
regardless of how
remember,
this-
we all had it was either Shane or D'Amico. I think for most of us, the whole process.
Exactly. So I can't sit here and try and change up my opinion now and pull my bias because he's a Colt. But this is just the facts. But I honestly do believe that all of these 4 coaches will be a top 15 coach in the NFL in about another year or two. So just laying that out there. But as we get into the Houston Texans, who I think did the second best in this offseason and who in actuality, if I think D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud should turn out who they should be, could instantly go from worst to first in this division. Hot take. You know what I'm saying? So just some stats that I got here. Davis Mills kind of took over the reins after what they did the year before. They were switching off a lot, running 2 QBs with Jeff Driscoll, my guy out of Florida, and Davis Mills, who had about 3,100 yards, had about 17 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. That's going to change a lot for this team. I'd be completely surprised if we see CJ Stroud throwing 15 interceptions, even if he has 17 and maybe 9, 7, 8, somewhere around there. Rushing leader for the Houston Texans was my boy Dameon Pierce with over 900 yards. I want to say about 4 touchdowns that he had. So it doesn't really seem like a lot, but I'm telling you, when the guy ran the ball, everybody was talking about it. So it almost felt like he had 15 touchdowns. Their leading receiver is out of the building. He got traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a 5th-round pick, which
Brandon
was Brandon
Cooks.
Cooks. So he is gone. So he is no longer there. So they're going to have a
Replaced
new
by
leading
Robert
receiver.
Woods.
But I tell you guys, when you look at this receiving core and their additions, they added Robert Woods. They added my receiver that I wanted, who, again, this is being non-biased. They added my guy Tank Dell. Zach and Matt, they can vouch for me. I was talking about this guy pretty much since about February, when we ended everything and started getting into the draft and getting into receivers. Tank Dell, I think, is going to be legit. That was one of the guys that was added as well. He was their 3rd-round draft pick. They added and then on defense, you go to their guy, Jalen Petrie, the free safety. I think this guy can really come into his own even some more. Dude had 147 tackles and had 5 interceptions as a rookie. I mean, the guy he's a good football player. I think he can really develop even more. And playing for D'Amico Ryans for him is instantly going to elevate him. And I'm telling you guys, I hate saying all of this positivity about this and them being our division. But I really think this team is going to shine some light in people's eyes. And people are just going to be wild because they're just going to be like, we ignored Houston and the whole AFC South. We thought they were going to be trash because they just want to throw that out to fans. But I think that's what it'll come down to. And then I do think Houston last year missed when they drafted Derek Singletary over Sauce Gardner. I think they should have went with Sauce instead of Derek Singletary. But I think because Derek Stingley missed 2 years, won the injury, and they sat out 1 other year and then got drafted. So I think that's another thing that'll change for the Houston Texans with him getting a bit more experience. And then we get into the draft for the Houston Texans, who I think – their first 4 picks, to me, were just, I think, absolutely outstanding for this team. Because if you think about the Houston Texans and what they've lacked over the last few years, it was never heart or effort. It was talent. They just didn't have talent. And then they kept getting rid of coaches and everything that Houston. So they give my boy DeMeco Ryans, who was my favorite coach, to be the Indianapolis head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, he wasn't going to choose the Colts, being a guy drafted to Houston and played there for a while. So I think if he turns out the way I think he should, this team is going to be really good. And then they go number 2 overall pick, C.J. Stroud at quarterback, who was my QB1. If he turns out anything like he should, I think even if he does exactly what Davis Mills did last year, putting up 3,100 yards, 17 touchdowns, and I want to say about 6 interceptions, that's legit for Houston, not turning over the ball. They're obviously going to come out and run the rock. They didn't draft another running back, but I think Damian Pierce staying healthy would be good for them. They drafted Will Anderson Jr. at the number 3 overall pick when they traded up. I'm not going to sit here and say Will Anderson Jr. is a generational talent pass rusher. I think he's a very good pass rusher. I think it's going to look a lot like the Giants' Kayvon Thibodeau, about 7 sacks, which is a really good rookie season. I don't think he's going to be like some super game changer, but I think he's going to be a really solid talent there for him. And again, Houston Texans for the last few years, breadth of talent. Then you get into Juice Scrubs, their cornerback out of Penn State. This was the guy opposite of Joey Porter Jr., which I think is another talent for them, and he can play slot or the outside, so I think it's legit for him. And then you go Tank Dell, receiver out of Houston. I think it's absolutely legit for him. And then they get the wide receiver back. God damn it, I'm missing it. Fucking have his name. What was his name?
See, this is why we took notes.
I hate names. I mess up with names so bad. I always mess up with names. I apologize, Houston Texans fans, but it was the boy who had Hodgkin's lymphoma, the receiver. But he's coming back, which is going to be crazy. Coming out of Alabama, he was one of the top receivers to go. So that was C.J. Stroud, Tank Dell having a slot receiver and a running game, and then just wait until I get into this free agency.
John Mechie?
Yeah, John Mechie, legit slot receiver or outside, wherever you want to put him. Tank Dell as well, kind of like a mini Debo Samuel. Appreciate that, Zach. So that's was another one of those picks. And then they got Dalen Horton, edge rusher out of TCU. A lot of people didn't know about him, but he's a very efficient pass rusher. He's not going to be probably not a key starter on first or second down, but this guy can come in and rotate with his defensive line, and it's going to look very legit. Now, some of their other picks, Henry Tuo out of Alabama, I thought he was a good linebacker, but again, they lack talent. So they're bringing in talent into this team. They get Jared Patterson out of Notre Dame. A center, so another key piece for C.J. Stroud. I think this guy can turn into a starter. Then they got one of our guys who I thought was going to go in like the 4th round, Xavier Hutchinson, big wide receiver, go up and get the ball. C.J. Stroud is a ball pacing specialist. Another thing that I think will be legit from him. And then Brandon Hill, I think will be more likely a special teams player, but I see Houston Texans have really turned their team around. I'm just telling you guys right now, like where they were talent-wise from where they are now, it's just a major difference, especially since they were so breadth at talent. Then you look at some of what they did from in free agency. They had linebacker Denzel Perryman. Guy's not an outstanding linebacker or anything like that, but he's serviceable. He's going to be there for you. He's going to play well. They trade for Shaq Mason and sign him to a 3-year contract. So I think that's fixing the offensive line in Houston. They also signed Eric Tomlinson, who I think is a legit tight end, who was with the
Jets?
No, I thought he was with the Chargers.
I don't know. I thought it was a Jet last year.
Okay, could be the Jets, but I thought it was a Chargers. So my apologies if I'm wrong there. They claim Tyree Giuseppe from the Jacksonville Jaguars, who, if you guys know, he was pretty solid for them for a few years. Jermaine Carter. And then who else was it that they did? And then they added from Tennessee, they brought in God damn it. What was his name, Matt?
The receiver?
Yeah, from
Robert Woods.
Rams. Yeah, Robert Woods. So another guy. So they giving C.J. Stroud weapons all over the place. And then obviously you have DeMeco Ryans. So what do? You go get a corner from the San Francisco 49ers. They bring in Jimmy Ward, who I think is another legit corner who can play and then help develop some of your younger rookies. Then they add D-tackle Hassan Ridgeway, former Colt, Everybody should know him. And then Sheldon Rankin. So they're really beefing up this defense to be able to stop the run game. And there was one more defensive tackle. If I'm missing him here, I apologize. Taylor Starworth, who I thought should have stayed with the Indianapolis Colts. Very good run stopper, serviceable, be able to rotate to a 1-year deal.
He got a Super Bowl ring last year.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think he was pretty good. They
You
added.
are really hyping this Houston team up.
I'm telling you, bro.
And I'm not gonna lie, bro. When I did my homework on them, I was so bored outside of the Tank Dell.
I'm telling you, bro. Like I was not, bro. I'm telling you. Look, they added running back Devin Singletary, who's not exciting or anything like that. But this guy has experience with the Buffalo Bills. Exactly.
I like Devin Singletary.
And
to be honest, I thought he should have stayed in Buffalo and was a star over there.
Exactly. And then lastly, they added Dalton Schultz, the tight end from the Dallas Cowboys. I think this Houston roster has literally went from 32 to at least mid-tier. And I'm not even trying to underrank mid-tier. Being a 15th to 16th ranked team, that is extremely huge for Houston.
I still think
fans out there, don't be surprised if you go from worst to first.
I still think wide receiver is questionable. I mean, I get it. You draft Tank Dell.
Just because they're old and unproven.
I get that Tank Dell is a good draft pick. I get that. But you know how wide receivers are. They're hit or miss when they come into the NFL. They're hit or miss. So Tank Dell has the potential to be great, and I don't ever knock them for that.
And I think Mechie has an opportunity to be great.
Yeah, but the fact that Robert Woods right now is your potential wide receiver 1 is where my question mark sits.
I think, John Mechie should be their receiver 1. And I think if John Mechie comes back from his, cancer and everything like that, and him getting back on the field, maybe it might not show week 1 or week 2 or week 3 or week 4. But I think by mid-season, he might actually start looking like the same guy he was at Alabama, who was extremely shifty, extremely explosive. And then when you got a quarterback who's a ball point specialist like C.J. Stroud, like I said, I don't think his numbers are going to be phenomenal. But if they don't have the turnovers like they had, if they can have the ability to run the ball, and then a coach like I expect DeMeco Ryans to be able to shift that defense, I think this team is going to be very competitive. I still had them. I don't know if we're saying our wins tonight or whatever. I still had them at a lower win team, but this team will be instantly, I believe, ready, even more ready to compete than they have been.
Just because I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I was talking about this with Matt before we started.
Yeah.
I get the DeMeco Ryans hype, and I said that I loved him as my coach, and he was like the guy that I wanted. I'm not going to sit here and say it didn't. But what concerns me about DeMeco is usually defensive coaches find elderly offensive coordinators or who have previous head coaching experience, someone on that staff they can lean on. He has none of that. He has a young defensive coordinator who's never called defense. He has a young offensive coordinator who's never called offense or ran an offense. Does that in any way, shape, or form scare you and concern you? Because to me, I understand it's a growing process. Yes, 100%. But not having someone, hell, Frank Reich had John Fox. I mean, Steichen's got Gus Bradley. Not having someone who's been there, done that, someone you can go to and ask questions with. Does that not scare the hell out of you as a possible, hey, they could have won more games, but because coaching was so bad the first year, it hampers them and holds them back.
I want to go ahead and respond to that. I have a big, huge thing when it comes to defensive coordinators becoming head coaches. I always believe that they need a grace period. I don't think their first year is usually successful. If you look at it historically, the only real successful defensive coordinator as a head coach is Bill Belichick.
Right.
You have guys who, like Wade Phillips, is probably arguably the best defensive coordinator in NFL history.
Right, but when I'm talking, you see successful defensive coordinators as head coaches. They usually had, Rex Ryan had Brian Schottenheimer.
Yeah.
You know, they usually have a coordinator who's had experience.
Chuck Pagano had Bruce Arians.
Right.
So my
They
thing
don't
is
have that. So that's a concern to me.
so
I'm
so
with you.
so in my opinion though, is the difference for me is that Houston has lacked a lot of talent, right? And they've been
Right.
competitive. There was like even I think they played the Eagles last year. Everybody thought it was going to be like a 40-6 blowout. They were competitive in that
Right.
game up until the fourth quarter.
Right.
And so I think what DeMeco Ryans bring, he's going to be a new level of motivation to this team as they're adding talent. I believe this might be the most flipped rosters that we've seen
100%.
in the NFL all year. So the thing is, they added Bobby Slowick from the 49ers as a passing game coordinator. So I would say, as a Texans fan, if I was a Texans fan, I would be concerned. As an NFL fan, I'm not.
Right.
So if we look at everything we've seen over the past few years, Sean McVay, Zach Taylor with the Cincinnati Bengals, even Brandon Staley out of the Chargers, as much as I hate to throw that name in there. Mike McDaniels with Miami. Everybody's going younger and more innovative. So when I sit here and think about Bobby Slowick and what he would bring to that offense in Houston, it's going to be, what did they do? They went and drafted re-signed Laramie Tunsil, one of the best left tackles in the game.
Right.
Added Shaq Mason, one of the best run blocking and
it's a consistent run game and a solid defense. That's what Houston wants to hang their hat on. That's what the AFC South is outside of Jacksonville.
Exactly. So when I think about the Houston Texans, it's going to be run the ball and quarterback play efficient with a game that is really shifty and quick passes. So when you think about who they have with a John Mechie, with a Tank Dell, with a Nico Collins, that's a deep guy where it's just going to be over the shoulder outside, where that fits his game perfectly. And then Xavier Hutchinson's who they added in the draft. I literally think it may look like a Tennessee Titans offense almost, where they're running the ball and be efficient passing when they went to the AFC Championship game. So that's why, as an NFL fan, I wouldn't be sitting here looking at Houston like they're just going to be a pushover. I'm going to think like this is about to be a dogfight for 60 minutes.
Right. No.
So
yeah. I don't discredit the amount of talent they've added to that roster.
Yeah.
My question is, does DeMeco Ryans have the right amount of resources?
My big question comes in is it still stays on the offensive side. We need to keep DeMeco Ryans out of the conversation because DeMeco Ryans being the head coach as a defensive coordinator is one thing, but then you start looking offensively. You're looking at a guy like Bobby Slowick, who's their offensive coordinator, right? Coming from San Fran, who had coached underneath a guy like Kyle Shanahan. Mm-hmm. What is that guy going to be able to do without a guy like Kyle Shanahan, who was telling him ultimately what to do?
Well,
so, I mean, the concern still stays offensively,
right,
on what they're going to be able to do. Well, I understand the point of what we would do with the run and pat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm right there, and I agree with DeMarco. But at the same time, my concern still stays with how Zach is with when you have a guy like Bobby Slowicki who's worked under great successful coaches of Kyle Shanahan, who's coached in multiple places successfully.
So
what are you going to be able to do without him?
Are we doing AFC South predictions tonight, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so once I make my prediction, you guys will kind of understand where I'm coming from with that. I'm just saying, like, the Houston that when you turn on the TV and you watch whatever you watch out there, fans, if you watch ESPN or you watch NFL Network, and they pretty much be like, oh, this team is going to win 2 games because they're a pushover. That won't be the case with the Houston Texans this year. It'll be year 2 for CJ Stroud. Is this the year that they take the lead? Because last year they lost 8 games by 3 points or less.
So I don't think me and Zach are saying that they're going to be pushovers. I think
no. We just have concerns. No, I'm not saying you guys are saying they are. I'm saying that will be like the difference. Like the way it seems like I'm making their roster seem like it's going to be over the top. I'm just saying that they're still going to lose games, but they won't look as bad as they used to.
I don't think CJ Stroud is going to lose as many games as Trevor Lawrence did his first season.
Exactly.
Right.
I'll say that. He's not going to go he's not going to go 1-15. You know what I'm saying? He's not even going to be as bad as Trevor Lawrence was his second season, where he went like 3-14 or whatever he went his second season. I think Houston's is in the same position as we are, in my opinion, to where we could be between that 6 and 8 wins and highly competitive.
Yeah. The only team I downright see, speaking from an Indianapolis perspective or a Houston perspective, the only team I see Houston downright sweeping, and I think every team in the division will either split or sweep, is Tennessee this year. Because
That depends, man. That
I think
depends.
Tennessee-
I don't think they will, man.
I think Tennessee has taken so much of a step back that
Yes.
like the offense is more trouble than it is worth fixing. And that defense is going to do exactly what Indianapolis did last year, which is they're on the field 100 fucking times a game and they just collapse because they're tired.
I gotta say I disagree just because of the fact that I think that a majority of people are sleeping on Mike Vrabel. I do not think this team
I don't sleep past Mike
anywhere-
Vrabel.
is anywhere getting shitted on. I would not be surprised again this year if they go 7-10, 8-9, something like that.
Like I said, roster wise, they look terrible, and I got
Exactly.
that. Roster wise, they look
Like,
terrible.
roster dog crap.
Dog crap, but you
At the
still
end
have
of
a
the
guy
day-
like Mike Vrabel.
And at the end of the day, coaching only does so much. It's all about execution. And I believe that when it comes to getting the players to execute, Houston, that's the deficiency. Houston
gonna say
doesn't
this.
have.
I'm going to say this: outside of AJ Brown, Derrick Henry, Jeffrey Simmons, Kevin Byard, that roster has been dog shit for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Their roster has never been intimidating outside of a handful of guys. And all you did was lower that handful of guys to about 4 players. Mike Vrabel's still going to be able to coach them. The thing that's holding him back is quarterback play, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think it was just quarterback play. I think it was J-Rob. He let that offensive line turn to crap. Then they got injured.
Injuries have killed them the last 2 years.
And then they've been bad at secondary since about 2015. And then they drafted a guy with a broken back. So I just feel like he made some mistakes trying to pick up on talent and injury like he did with Jeff Simmons, who came out with a hurt knee. He thought he could do the same at corner. And like I was telling you guys in the chat, 2 positions that I don't understand why you would draft a guy with a hurt back is left tackle and cornerback. Those are just 2 positions that I think is absolutely insane to go with an injured back.
Agreed.
I don't know if everybody's seen my face out there. Sorry to surprise you, but if you're a Phoenix fan at all, or if you live in Phoenix, you have to be a basketball fan. Coach Monty Williams just got fired, so I just thought that was crazy. I don't know why he got fired, but
They're going to go hire JJ Redick.
I got the XFL championship on, so.
It is on right now.
Yeah, the Renegades are they were just destroying DC. It was 17-0, but DC just scored. So
they're gonna go hire JJ Redick.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, I don't want to get too much into basketball, but I just thought that was insane that he got fired because that's like this third coach that's gotten fired.
Just so everyone knows, I am brokenhearted. The Devils lost on Thursday night. We're out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I feel bad for Matt, but I ain't had one team be successful except. The Lakers are going to the Western Conference Finals. Let's get it. So I really needed that for my teams this year. Wow, that's crazy. But yeah, so I think that no team in the South can be slept on outside of the Colts just because of the fact that the way that we looked last year, the only thing we really needed was quarterback play. But obviously, I think Jacksonville is going to spearhead this division. And then I think Houston could easily jump everyone if they look the way that I felt like they should look, getting my QB 1, head coach 1, receiver 1, getting all 3 of those. If they look the way they look, obviously Tennessee is going to look like Tennessee, regardless of how you like it, how much you hate them, whatever you feel about them. The roster's going to look like crap, and they're going to come out and they're going to punch you in the mouth every single week, no matter how you like it. And then we have our Indianapolis Colts, who have been the team that's been shifting the most every single year, which is the team that I think should be steady, but we'll see how that boat rocks back and forth.
All right. So, prediction-wise, we're not going wins for each team, right? Because we didn't look at their schedules. I didn't look at everybody's schedule. We're going to go what we think everybody's going to finish in based off of what we discussed. Who you all got winning the division?
I have the Jacksonville Jaguars winning the division.
I have Jacksonville winning the division with 10 wins.
I got Jacksonville winning the division too. I think that offense goes from 10th overall to about 6th or 5th overall, in my opinion.
So I don't have them at 10 wins. I have them barely winning the division at 8 or 9.
Oh, I don't. I have them at 11 to 12 wins.
Yeah, I got them at 8 or 9.
I have them at 11 to 12. I think they have a quarterback that's going to compete with the top 4 quarterbacks in the AFC.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville wins no less than 10. Anything less, in my opinion, is a failure.
Facts. And facts.
Yeah, I would agree, but I just think that this division is going to be more competitive than it was last year. And as we've seen, I believe, what was it? We beat them once. They swept Tennessee. I think they split with Houston, if I remember correctly. Houston always plays them hard, so I don't think that'll be another cakewalk. So I just think that about 8 or 9 wins the division.
All right.
Who you guys got at number 2?
I got Indy.
I have Indianapolis with 9 wins.
I got Indianapolis with 8 wins. So I guess I probably have to put Jacksonville at 9. So
yeah, I got Indy with 8.
Who we got at number 3?
Houston.
I have Houston.
Yep.
Houston with 7 to 8 wins.
So this is going to be my surprise to people. So I'm surprised that you guys actually had them at 7 or 8 wins, because as much as I hyped them, I still had them at 5 wins. But I believe every game that they lose will literally be by 1 to 3 points.
I think that offense is still too good. They're going to put up a bunch of the points. I just don't see them defensively being able to stop anybody yet, because even though there's more talent, defense takes longer to gel, in my opinion.
I'm actually the opposite. The total opposite.
I'm the opposite. I think that defense will hold opponents to about 18 points per game.
I think
the offense will struggle a little bit until the back half of the season.
I think offensively is where Houston's question marks are going to stay in place, because in all honesty, I think in my opinion, their wide receiver 1 is up in the air. And I think Tank Dell being probably the biggest name brought in, Damian Pierce being probably the best player on the offense. Offensively is a big question mark to me.
I think it just goes back to me for a rookie quarterback. I mean, you almost never see rookie quarterbacks excel, which is why I said that. I think CJ Stroud will be steady and efficient.
Unless you're Big Cock Brock.
Yeah, or Andrew Luck. So it's just like I just think those are the things that I think that will hold them back just a little bit. But
please don't call him that, dog. And then I have Tennessee last in the division. I have them winning 3 games because they're utter incompetency. Even if Vrabel's the best coach in the league, I think that roster is arguably one of the worst rosters in the NFL. Defensively, it's great. Offensively, it's trash.
That's how they win games, though.
I think because Tannehill's a year older and he's not going to be Tannehill. Yeah, I think offensively, Tennessee is going to be one of the worst teams in the league, because everyone and their monkey's uncle is going to be like, stop 22.
I think
How
Tennessee.
the hell did the Arlington Argonauts make it to the Super Bowl of the XFL at 5 and 6?
Playoffs, baby.
5 and 6 though.
I don't know, bro.
You shouldn't even make the playoffs.
And they're whooping on a 10-1 team. So
that's insane, dude. What the hell is
20-6 right now. But
Yeah.
I agree. I think Tennessee. I think Tennessee's going to get the Indy effect of last year offensively. I think Ryan Tannehill has too much on his, people breathing on the back of his neck. Right. They drafted Malik Willis last year. Then he got, Ryan Tannehill had his issues, and then they had Josh Dobbs playing, and offensively they were just a disaster. And I think even though he's saying in interviews like, "Oh, I've been here before," because they drafted Will Levis, I think Will Levis is going to be starting.
Malik Willis.
No,
Will he Levis said, "I've been here before because they drafted Malik Willis."
Yeah,
so he's doing it all over again.
Yeah. And then I think Will Levis is going to be starting by probably the first time we play.
Damn, you think that early? Like week 5?
That'd be week 5.
I think that early.
Wow.
Well, I got Tennessee at 5 wins. I think they'll tie with Houston.
You have them at more wins. I have them winning 3 legit games.
No, I got them at 5 still because I don't think Vrabel's gonna ever go out like a punk.
It's not Vrabel's fault.
Beat him. I mean, even with the talent, regardless. I mean, he still didn't really hit the avalanche until he literally lost everybody towards the end of that season. So I still think they come in, they play hard, and I think they may even start like 4-2, and then just hit an avalanche.
Do what they did last year. They started 4-2.
Exactly. So
everyone died, and they
went down 4-2 with one of those losses coming from us.
Exactly. So it's just I think that's just a situation that I think they'll start out in, and they'll slowly have to work their way back, and they may even end up with our guy Marvin Harrison Jr. The sad part. So
I'll be so mad. Don't wish that evil on me, bro.
Yeah. So just saying that's what the case may be, but I think they would be at about 5.
Yeah, we got a question I want to answer from CJ Angone. Asking
that question
on Tyler Adams. Yeah, he's a local kid from Butler, and then he went to Harvard. I think he's a camp body at best.
He started at Harvard, and then he transferred to Butler.
Either way, camp body at best.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm wrong. Obviously, he's better than me. I'm aware of that. I mean, duh. But it's an accomplishment to even get an NFL tryout. But I think that's where it ends, like camp body.
Yeah. I mean, you can see a lot of those. That's why you guys don't see me a lot of times trying to put everybody out there just because, like, we don't know.
Yeah, facts.
We don't know what those guys are going to be. It's tough to tell.
Half these dudes are camp bodies to begin with. You guys know what I call them. Camp warriors.
Yep. I mean, sometimes you may need those camp warriors, but it's just tough to tell with all of them.
Yeah,
it's the short All-American team right now. The underwear All-Americans, as Steve Smith calls them. So,
nothing. Steve Smith is that's our boy Josh Downs. Steve Smith in a smaller body.
I will say this, since we're talking about the AFC South, I do think that we probably have the most questionable team, in my opinion. Not questionable, but as in the most unpredictable.
That's fair.
I don't mean as in like we're questioning everything about the team. I think it's just the fact that you have a guy like Anthony. Yeah, we change quarterbacks every year. We have a guy like Anthony Richardson. You don't know what you're getting from a guy like Anthony Richardson.
So let me ask you this then. If we shit the bed, let's say Indianapolis wins 4 games, but you see Anthony Richardson really blossom and bloom and take off, and we're competitive, do you still think Ballard pulls the guns and trades some key places away like Buckner?
No.
Or do you think he keeps them?
No.
And
you keep them and you build
it out.
No.
Keep them and you build.
If things look positive, you don't trade anybody.
But
look, if trade for some people.
If there's anything that I've seen from Ballard this offseason is they're not expecting fucking Anthony Richardson to come out and light it up.
I've told you guys this in our chat. I don't think he starts. I don't think he starts till after week 6.
Nah,
after week 5, dog.
From what Shane Steichen has said, Anthony Richardson's starting week 1. I don't care. No, it's as simple as what Shane is saying. The development comes from
playing.
Playing.
And it's hard to
And-
argue.
And there's
But-
no way, like, he's going to earn it. He's got to earn it throughout camp, right?
Right.
But in my opinion, Shane is it's already there, man. Anthony Richardson is starting. The Colts have hyped him up in every media post as QB1. The rest of the team has hyped him up as QB1. He's there as QB1. He's not there as QB2 until week 6. You see what I'm saying? Like,
I just
if you pay attention to what they're doing media-wise,
Right.
and social media-wise,
You
there's
can tell.
no way that
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson does not start week 1.
I
understand that
the tickets.
I understand that he might benefit by not starting week 1, but the way
I'm torn.
seems.
I'm torn because I agree with you, but I also view it as the division's pretty much decided after the first 6 weeks.
But that's why you got to start him.
I
why you
don't.
got to start him. I don't want to hurt.
If we got a real chance in hell, I don't want to fucking throw it away just so we can start a rookie.
But here's the thing. Do you think we have a better chance with Gardner Minshew to win the division than you do Anthony Richardson?
I'm a little bit more confident in Gardner than I am Richardson.
I am not.
Yeah.
Not at all. I am not.
Just because he's seen a few more things than
I'm just not.
Like,
No, you guys are. I'm just laughing because you guys are in complete disagreement here. I just think what it comes down to
the athletic profile. I'm taking Richardson all day.
All day.
Like,
No.
the ceiling is Richardson, but if there's a chance that we're actually in it, I don't want the rookie to make the mistake.
My thing is,
hold on. Before we get into this, I promise it won't be like 3 weeks ago when we got into it bad. This will be healthy. All right. Go ahead.
So yeah, I was just about to say, like, it comes down to something that Rick Venturi had said. It's like, if you have Anthony Richardson sitting on the sidelines watching, what do you become really good at watching? You become good at watching.
Yeah,
that's it. And so the point here becomes is that if you want to have him start, my thing is if Anthony Richardson is going to be a starter. It comes down to, can he protect himself? Do you know protections? Can you watch out for the blitz? Can you know to slide? Can you know to get out of bounds? If he can protect himself, there is no reason at all that he shouldn't be a starter by
now. Let me also put this in argument, right? If you bring up this schedule, I'm gonna bring the schedule back up. All right. I'm going to bring it back up because we got it right here. Hold on. That's slide 1. Let me go to slide 2. All right. So you look at this schedule, right? You have Jacksonville, Houston, Tennessee, Jacksonville. I'm just talking division. I don't care about the Baltimore and the Rams.
Right. That's all I care about.
I'm talking to division-wise because the division could be pretty much decided by week 6 if we went 0-4 or
you can be a
whatever.
playoff team and win 7 games and just sweep the division. Like, that's all I care about.
But here's my important point right here, right? You play Jacksonville week 1. Then you play Jacksonville again week 6. We just predicted Jacksonville to be the division winners. So if you want to go ahead and beat Jacksonville at least once to keep you in the fight the rest of the season,
you got to play the best.
Why not play your quarterback, Anthony Richardson, week 1? Because if we lose week 1, now he has experience against that team. He's going to play them again week 6.
Yeah, I don't want to show him on tape though. That's the thing.
But you show a guy like Anthony Richardson on tape week 1, it might look different week 6 because Anthony Richardson is just this athletic freak that you're still trying to figure out.
I mean, that's fair because every team has to figure that guy out. I just look at it like,
bro, we start 0-4, bro.
Like, yeah, straight. Like,
but do you think I think we have more of a chance to start 0-4 with Gardner Minshew than I think we do with Anthony Richardson. And the only reason I believe that is because we can go ahead and lose to Jacksonville week 1, which is a high possibility, and we can beat Houston week 2 because Anthony Richardson's got 1 game down in his belt. I think with Anthony Richardson, we have a better chance of even keeping it competitive with Baltimore because of his style of play.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, like,
I think getting Baltimore
there ain't no way here we can start 0-4.
Right. No. I agree. I'm just sitting here saying if I'm looking at our offense being ran by a guy like Anthony Richardson, then a guy like Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
I think Anthony Richardson is more difficult to game plan against
Well,
because you don't know
obviously.
what's going to happen.
He
You just
can
know.
do both, obviously. I mean, he's a threat. I don't argue that. That's not my argument. My argument is because the way the schedule is made and built, with the division games being so early, do you take that risk or do you say he starts after week 6?
Okay, so I would
From
put
the
it like this
get-go.
then, Zach. Who, regardless of experience, who do you think is the better player and the better quarterback? Gardner Minshew or Anthony Richardson?
Overall, Richardson.
Then that's who you play.
Fair enough.
I would say, regardless of the division, regardless of what it is, whoever you think is the better quarterback or the better player,
Like,
just
from a football sense, my eyes and my feet and my ears, everything, it's Richardson.
then that's
But-
who you gotta. That I would say that's who you gotta play. Like I said before, as long as he can protect himself, as long as he's not getting thrown out to an area where he's just gonna get demolished by defenses. Other than that, if he can protect himself, then he has to know that growing pains are gonna come. Hey, you may throw a pass late, you may throw an interception, you may throw some tip balls, you may not look the way that you want to look early, but this is all to help you grow. Don't make the same mistake twice. Play fast, play efficient, play the way you play smart, get the ball to your playmakers, and protect yourself at all costs. And if that's what you do, then we're playing you because you are the best player, the best quarterback for our team to play as long as you can protect yourself.
Here's the idea too. You like the way I look at it is this year I don't care about winning the division or making the playoffs. So even looking at the schedule, I don't care if by week 7 we're already out of the division. You know what I mean?
Right.
My point is to just see Anthony Richardson develop. And we talked about this a few weeks ago where it got heated, right? Where we talked about guys like Josh Rosen and Zach Wilson and guys who are potentially not going to be franchise quarterbacks, mainly because of the fact that their front office had seen them not succeed, and now they just want to move on, right? And I think I didn't really express my point in the fact that as a rookie quarterback, if you don't win the division or you don't make the playoffs, I don't think that should hinder you moving forward. As long as the second season you take the step forward, or the third season, like if you look at Trevor Lawrence, 1-15 first season. I think he had 3 wins season 2. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then
That's right.
Year 3, he wins the division at 9 wins. I got it. I call that by default. But if you see the progression, then that quarterback needs to go ahead and continue to be the starter. As long as you come into the season with the mindset that this guy is developing and he's still going to be your starter year 2, it doesn't matter if you win the division. It doesn't matter if you make the playoffs. All that matters is that the development happens, and then you see it in year 2.
Yep, that's the same thing for me. Development for Anthony Richardson and more than 4 wins.
And I think that's what
As long as you get to four or more wins,
or 3. I would go with. I mean, Peyton
I understand Peyton only had 3, but that team was absolutely garbage when Peyton.
But we also have 17 games now and not 16. So
exactly. So I would say the only reason I'm saying 4 or more is just for Jim Irsay's health. We have to hit more than that win total from last year, or Jim Irsay may do some other irrational stuff. So I just think as long as you get to 4 or more, and then you see Anthony Richardson improve, even
if the wins aren't there, let's say we win 3 games and not the 4, as long as Anthony Richardson was promising, because you can see it individually. Right?
Okay, so Matt, real quick before you explain on that. So you say as long as Anthony Richardson is promising, right? With the expectations of what this defense should be, do you honestly think there could be less than 3 wins, as good as we think this defense should be? If Anthony Richardson is promising.
Now hold on, because I understand. I think the biggest question for us offensively is the wide receiver corps, and I've said that multiple times. Right? Everybody wants.
I thought it was offensive line, but
no, I don't think it is offensive line, because I think the offensive line was always a schematic issue.
Got you.
Like they looked good with Andrew Luck, Jacoby Brissett, who are very similar quarterbacks when it comes to movement.
Yep.
And then
good with
Philip
Uncle Phil.
and Uncle Phil is just a guy who gets the ball out quick. So the offensive line was successful there. And then you had Carson Wentz, where they weren't terrible. I don't think offensive line was bad that year. I think
They were not.
Very much.
Carson Wentz.
Richardson and being able to move and get on.
Carson
the
held on to the ball too much.
Carson held on to the ball.
Eric
too much,
Fisher
and then
wasn't good.
right, and then you had a statue in Matt Ryan. So in my opinion, I don't think offensive line is the biggest question. I think
fair.
right now it's what will Michael Pittman Jr. do, because Michael Pittman Jr. is ultimately our wide receiver 1, right? And right now Alec Pierce is our wide receiver 2, and then you have Isaiah McKenzie. But I personally think Josh Downs is going to steal that spot.
Ooh, he out of there. Touchdown, DC.
Really? I didn't see it yet. I'm a little
He just-
behind.
he-
I'm a
he
little
just
behind. I got
busted
it.
for like 40 yards or something like that. 50.
So in my opinion, I want to see Michael Pittman take the step forward, and not only take the step forward in yards, right? Everybody's so obsessed with stats. What I want to see him do is be able to get open. I love his contested catches. We all love them, especially on third down. He makes great contested catches. The dude, in my opinion, has probably a top 8 hands in the NFL, maybe top 5 hands in the NFL. But what the guy needs to do is be able to get open.
Yep.
That's what I want to see more of.
Yeah,
So
that's fair. That's very fair.
that's my only argument is you can see Anthony Richardson making the right decisions. You can see him making the right, quick reads, things like that. And you can go ahead and push aside, hey, if we win 3 games, Anthony Richardson did really well in his development. He was making plays. He was making this happen. But if Michael Pittman Jr. takes the step forward from what he did with Carson Wentz, right? If he takes a step forward from that, I think we win 9-10 games. That's just me.
Yeah, see? So with that being said, that's another reason why I say that if Anthony Richardson is promising with what this defense has been able to do with solid quarterback play, I
Right.
think there's no way in hell that Indianapolis lose less than 5-6 games.
Agreed. 100%.
that's-
I'm not in
so-
argument against that at
So
all.
that's my exact reason for
But we have to have
4 wins or more
Now,
with
we have to
promising
have-
QB play.
let me
we have
flip
to
this.
have the consistency at wide receiver.
Let
at the
me
same
let me
time.
flip this.
I agree with that.
Let me flip this. I agree with all of that. I don't disagree with any of this.
Good to hear.
The defense, right? Let's say the defense is elite.
Okay.
Let's say, with the Colts finally have an elite defense. Talking like, for example, the Seahawk defense, or you could even, if you want to, all Indy has to do is score 17 points a game and 0-1 Baltimore type defense, just dominant.
Okay.
Do you risk the rookie playing because he can lose you more games than winning more games, and just going out and being consistent with a guy like Minshew, who's not going to do too much, just play point guard?
Yes. Why? Because Gardner Minshew was not here to be the future of the team. So if you have an elite defense,
right, but that elite defense can carry you to a Super Bowl. You're still going to play a rookie.
But here's the thing: do you want one Super Bowl, or do you want that guy to develop and now you can win multiple Super Bowls?
I think you can win multiple.
Now let's look at it like this:
Richardson a year.
I don't think you can.
Or you played him when it didn't matter. Only
I don't
when
think
like crunch time.
I don't think
Like
you can.
after
I mean,
garbage time.
obviously, the argument would be Patrick Mahomes sitting a year, and that potentially coming into multiple Super Bowls. So I mean, that could be your argument. Yeah, that could happen. But in my opinion, I truly think the way Anthony Richardson is going to develop more from being on the field, because his main issue is accuracy, right?
Right.
I mean, it's been said. I still think his completion percentage is bogus. He's more in the 60% completion area of last year if you take away the drops, right? He's more in the 66 plus. But that's still an accuracy issue. So you can still work on his accuracy. His accuracy can be developed in practice, sure, but now you're missing some other key developments. That's just me. If we sit him, right, because you think that we can win a Super Bowl with a guy like Minshew Magic,
because how dominant the defense would be. That's hypothetical.
Hold on. I like Gardner Minshew. I liked him in Jacksonville. I liked him in Philly. I think he didn't perform very well in Philly compared to what he performed in Jacksonville.
He did great against Dallas.
But I do like Gardner Minshew. Do I think Gardner Minshew with an elite defense brings us a Super Bowl? Fuck no, I don't. Because he had an elite defense in Philly, and he lost those games.
Well, I think he went 1-1.
Yeah, he went 500.
I'm pretty sure he didn't win a game.
No, he beat Dallas. He put up the
Okay, but Dallas was also missing Dak Prescott.
Well, that's not
When
how he's
Philly-
controlled.
I can't remember for sure.
I
but
do
thought
remember
it was-
hold on. I remember 100% because Philly beat Dallas when Dallas didn't have their starters.
Yeah.
Dallas beat Philly when Philly didn't have their starters. So Jalen Hurts beat Dallas. Dallas beat Gardner Minshew.
So my thing with that is that we already know what Gardner Minshew is.
He's Minshew magic.
So regardless of what you think he is,
He's Jean Jacket.
you think he's a streaky player for a few games.
Yeah,
rile everybody up.
He is Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He is a backup quarterback, and
He's
so
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
my thing is just like with the Anthony Richardson. So Zach, from your position, from the question that you're asking, pretty much is you think about a Trey Lance, you think about a Jordan Love. You sit Anthony Richardson for too long, he may come out, get hurt. You may see Gardner Minshew play well for 14 games or whatever, and then you never get to see Anthony Richardson.
Facts.
And so then it comes down to a situation where it's like, okay, some years go by, and we still haven't seen this guy play. We don't know what he can do, what he's going to be, and now we have to pay him. Make a decision to pay him or not, like the Packers are doing with Jordan Love.
And then one year, a fucking mystery irrelevant pops up, and now Trey Lance is potentially a trade block
on the way out the door. And he's supposed to be one of the most talented players in a while.
I wouldn't mind being in that position, but
I mean, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. So our defense, as we all know it, outside of last year, is a very good defense with promising or solid QB play, which is why I think it's totally reasonable to say Anthony Richardson, as long as you can protect yourself, you get in there and play, because of the fact that we need Gardner Minshew in case of an emergency.
This is what I'll say. If they decide to start Gardner Minshew week 1, right? Let's say if he starts week 1, he needs to start through the Rams, right?
Well, that'd be week 4.
3? Week 3? Week 4?
4.
Right?
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson needs to start by at least the second Jacksonville game.
That's totally reasonable, because I had him sitting like 2-3 games. So
yeah, at least maybe he sits until Houston, or no, Houston's week 2.
That'd be week 2.
Maybe he sits until the Rams or Baltimore, right? Maybe that's okay. I mean, either way, right? You guys know how I feel about sitting a guy who's a top 5 draft pick. That's how I feel. I do understand how it could benefit them when it comes to certain players like Patrick Mahomes. I personally don't think
he's an anomaly anymore.
Yeah, I don't personally think that benefited him. I think he was always that guy.
He was.
Yeah, if
you go back to the writers' reports on Patrick Mahomes from practices, they were just like, this guy's insane.
I think maybe the best example, and God, I want to fucking myself talking about this. I think the most person recently that we could think of is Aaron Rodgers sitting behind Brett Favre for 3 or 4 years, however long he sat behind him. That probably benefited Aaron Rodgers. But I just don't feel it. I feel like, to me, I can coach a guy better when he's on the field seeing full speed. His practice is never full speed. Preseason's not full speed. That's just me.
Right. I think sitting a quarterback is only beneficial if the guy isn't like sitting for a year or
Facts.
more.
Agreed.
Like
I
I feel
agree.
like I feel like a few games is fine, or maybe even through camp. Like if you look at like a Justin Herbert, he sat all through mini camp,
and
training
then
camp,
a few weeks
preseason,
and
and
a
then
Oh,
couple
he didn't
weeks.
play week one.
and
Well,
then
no, he didn't
and then
start week one.
no, he played week one
He played
because
week one.
Tyreek
Tyreek pumped his
Tyrod
lung.
Taylor.
I thought that was
had
in.
the
I
lung
was thought that
function.
was mid-season.
No, that was
I thought that was
literally.
like.
I want to
I
say
thought
that
it was
was
like week 2 or week 3.
no, it was literally like 3-4 days before
San Diego
one.
came out and said he was going to sit the whole year
Yeah,
if Tyrod Taylor didn't mess his
if
lung
he
up.
was, yeah, exactly. So it was literally
Herbert
like
said he
3-4
was.
days before the season, and they're like, "Hey, Justin, you're the guy." So it's like to me, it's like you only need so many games. If your guy needs more than 4 games, you probably didn't get the right
No.
guy,
So hold on,
or
no,
the guys are still too close.
Real quick. Just a correction. Tyrod Taylor played week 1. They started off 1-0, and then he got hurt.
So he got hurt in week 2. I thought it was week 1. That's my
Yeah,
apologies.
I just know
When
I thought it
week
was
2's game against the Chiefs started, Taylor was nowhere to be seen because he got hurt in week 1. And then
Are
Herbert
they
was
showing what
suddenly
day
the
that was
starting
reported?
quarterback.
It punctured his lung because Herbert talked about it. He was
Yeah.
under the assumption that he was
Do
going to
they
sit
show-
the entire year.
Did they show what day that was reported?
That was day of the game.
I'm on October 13th, 2020.
Does it say if that's like a
That's
Tuesday
when
or?
No,
That was
I
day.
don't.
That was game day before the game. Tyrod
So
Taylor got his
Tyrod
lung
Taylor
punctured.
earned the start. Hold on.
You said
I'm
October,
gonna read it.
October 13, 2020?
Hold on. I'm gonna share this real quick. I'm gonna share the screen so that you all can see.
So that
what
was
I'm
a
seeing.
Tuesday. That's
Hold
a
on.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm gonna share what the. Hold on.
No, I just wanted to see the day because I was trying to think of how many days he had to prep to
Can
be
you
a
guys see?
starter.
Can you guys see this?
A little bit. I might have to open up my screen here. There we go.
All right, hold on. All right, so I had to make my adjustments. So this isn't week 2, so this is later on, right? You can see
October
here.
13, 2020. So that's the Tuesday.
Taylor played decent enough in week 1 to start Los Angeles off to a 1-0 start. He finished with 208 yards with no touchdowns, no interceptions. It was his first start since 2018 when he began the season as the Browns quarterback before getting hurt and losing the job to Baker Mayfield. Before that, he was a starting quarterback in Buffalo. He also played in the Ravens, if nobody knows that. He was the backup in Baltimore.
Got a championship.
So I actually low that. Okay, so I was very cocky with Madden back in the day. I played somebody with Baltimore. I benched Joe Flacco, put Tyrod Taylor as a starter, and I whooped their ass. I always did that. I don't know why, but whatever. So in 3 years after leading a team in the playoffs, Taylor only started in 3 games. He was out to prove he was still available starter in 2020, and then things went eerie. When week 2's game against the Chiefs started, Taylor was nowhere to be seen, and Herbert was suddenly the starting quarterback. ESPN soon reported that this was the result of a team doctor accidentally punctured Taylor's lung while trying to administer a pain-killing injection to his cracked ribs. His injury actually starts in week 1. He suffered 2 cracked ribs during the first drive of the game. So, yeah, it was week 1 that happened. And then Justin Herbert took over in week 2.
Says he was cleared to play week 2.
Yeah.
The pain killing one. So yeah, I mean, again, it just shows like how much time actually goes into that, and which is why another reason why I don't think, even if you go back to Patrick Mahomes this season, I mean, if you got like an Alex Smith playing so well, then it's like, okay, you have no reason to play your rookie. But then you go into year 2 and you're like, let me trade this veteran quarterback because I got a guy right here that I'm not gonna sit here and wait for. So yeah, it's like, okay, Patrick Mahomes missed his rookie season, but it's not like a Jordan Love where you're in season 3. It's not like a Trey Lance where you're in season 3.
So I want to say this: if it was, let's say, for some reason this year we didn't have a division rival week 1, then I would say sit him.
Touchdown Arlington.
Yeah,
That's the only reason why I am the way I am this year is because of the way our schedule is, and I think it's crucial for us to get off to a hot start. So like,
But you really think Gardner Minshew gets us to a hotter start than a guy like Anthony Richardson, who, in my opinion, right? If you look at it like this, Jacksonville sees us week 1, and then they see us week 6. So you see Anthony Richardson week 1, which will probably be more of an RPO or a read option style, a whole lot more running. And then week 6, at the point that they see us week 6, we're going to be throwing a whole lot more than we did week 1.
my question is, you start Minshew week 1, right?
Okay.
If they lose, okay. They lose again, all right, pull them. You put Richardson in. You let Richardson play the entire year.
Nope.
Or,
I feel like if you do that, that's a panic move, and you didn't make the decision on your own,
Facts.
deciding who was the best. You're just trying to save your ass and play.
I'm trying to win the division first and foremost.
Hey, I'm gonna make.
That's exactly why I asked you the question of who are you playing? Who do you think is the best quarterback and the best player? Because my thing is like, if you think about it, Anthony Richardson's from Florida, so who do you think he would want to play for his first game? Like, who's he going to be?
Jacksonville.
That's his hometown team.
Jacksonville's right by Gainesville.
That's his hometown team. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So who do you think he's going to be best for and most ready to play?
His biggest supporters, his mom. Who's going to be there?
So,
his mom.
Well, he moved his whole family up to Indianapolis.
Yeah,
I saw that.
They're going to be at
the same point, right?
But,
he's got family at this game.
He's got motivation.
He's going to play way harder than Gardner Minshew is.
And I just think it's like if you don't play him and you lose to Jacksonville, it's basically like he misses out on the intensity of it being a division game. Like even when DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart, when they were doing the schedule reveal and they had the Gator and they were like, oh, it's Florida, Jacksonville.
Yeah, they were
all right. They instantly said, all right, let's go. Because we're opening up playing a division opponent. Like they instantly from that moment turned it up to another level. Like we know who we're going against week 1. We know we got to take care of business. And that's the same level that Anthony Richardson needs to be to from the jump of the season that it's go time.
I do want to make a comment real quick about that video. These motherfuckers ate a lot of food.
I know. I was watching that and I was ready to throw up, bro. I was like,
bro,
when they got like to week 6, I was like, bro,
what one was the one with the burger that they couldn't even figure out?
I want to say that was Tennessee week 10. The Nashville burger. I think it might have been.
Bro, and even Buck was like, "Oh my god, thank God it's week 11."
Yeah, he's like, "How am I supposed to break?"
And Grover was like, "Bro, I'm hungry."
He said, "I need a nap. I need a nap."
Grover said he was hungry.
Yeah, I know. DeForest Buckner, he's like, "I'm tapped out. I'm ready for a nap."
Yeah,
like put that in to go box for me. But Zach, to your point, I understand the hesitance to want to play a rookie, and my only hesitance for it is if he can't protect himself. And I've seen a lot of Anthony Richardson at Florida, and he actually caught a lot of his life fiction.
Right, I've read that.
Yeah. So it's like if he can protect himself, and I would most likely think like the experience that Gardner Minshew has, and athletic ability that Anthony Richardson has. It starts to break even to that point where I'm just like, why should I go with my guy that I purely brought in here for as competition? I just think that it's like if you can protect yourself, I have to go best player available.
So in my opinion,
I'm real thinking away, man. I'm dead tired.
Like,
I feel you.
You guys, best player available. Anthony Richardson, in my opinion, right now is the best quarterback that we have. Gardner Minshew is going to be too careful, and Sam is Sam. We saw the product of Sam. I think Sam's going to end up on the practice squad. I don't think we keep 3 quarterbacks this year.
I had a hot take on Sam. I think Sam ends up our QB too.
Oh,
I think there's a chance Sam could beat Minshew. In that case, if Sam beats Minshew, you start Richardson because it's a wash.
I just
I'm
think
down
the
with
way
that.
that
I'm okay
I
with
just
that.
I just think the way that this I just think that the way that this offense is built and with Sam's mobility, he
It
fits
fits
this,
Sam's
this
better.
this new scheme better than Gardner Minshew, regardless of the relationship between Minshew and Steichen. That I think Sam could end up fitting
And
better.
in all honesty, if you do that, let's say this, right?
Minshew's
The
job is
hot
to
take
stall the offense, and I feel like he's going to do that.
now you say right. But here's the thing: if you do that, you keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster.
I got no problem with that because look what
No,
happened in San
neither.
Francisco last year.
Right.
They don't
Because
roll
now,
with
You don't know
because now
how
you
many
got
you might need.
now you got AR starting, you got Sam back up, and then you got Minshew as the clipboard warrior.
They don't
Who
run a
has the most
fullback in it.
experience?
So
Right. I mean, we didn't run fullback.
we don't run. Shane Steichen don't use fullback.
I don't think the Eagles ran fullback either.
I don't
They
think
use
they did
tight
either.
ends.
But Shane's not the only ones on them. I'm just saying things can change. Fullbacks are
No, I
all
want to
time.
say the Chargers. The Chargers
Chargers
when
did.
Steichen was there had a fullback.
Chargers did, but here's the thing:
Yeah. Purdue.
fullbacks are a time of the past, right? Because fullbacks are now running backs. If you have a 2 running back system, it's either a tight end in a goal line situation or you have a 2 running back situation. And I've seen it. I even seen it with Frank with us. We've had Naheem Hines lined up in the fullback position.
Or you're saying,
we were stupid to not keep using that.
or you're San Francisco and actually have a fullback who can do everything. And
Bro, I'm sorry.
Whoa, chill out, Zach. Not everybody got a Kyle Juszczyk.
bro, Juszczyk's a dog. Like, one of my favorite players.
Bro,
Not everybody got a Juszczyk.
I'm
Unless
sorry,
you
but
get a Juszczyk, he's one of my favorite guys. He's a dog.
Christian McCaffrey is probably my favorite person in the NFL right now. That dude's just a stud. When he went to San Fran, he revitalized his career.
No, he just reminded everyone how good he was. He was just not used right in Carolina.
Isn't that what revitalized means?
I don't know if he does or doesn't.
I'm
not gonna say he was a bust.
I just feel like he was the only thing in Carolina, and in San Francisco, he got to go get back to his efficiency like he had at Stanford.
And they kept him healthy.
Exactly.
That was the important part. They kept that man healthy.
So I just think there's I mean, it's a long way to go. We'll see how it goes, but I just think in the end, it's going to come down to can Anthony Richardson as a rookie protect himself, because that's what it's going to be. And I mean, as long as he can protect himself, then I don't see how Gardner can start over everything that he can do.
As long as Anthony Richardson doesn't try to take stupid hits like trying to run over two linebackers at the same time.
Like Andrew Luck or Cam Newton.
Will be all right. But if he knows he can get around them, around them.
I think Richardson actually could run through 2 linebackers, unlike Luck.
Andrew Luck. Hold on now. Andrew Luck did run through 2 linebackers.
Yeah, I think Richardson could do that with ease.
Andrew Luck ran through Mauga and whoever else there was their running back their linebacker in Cincinnati. He definitely ran through both of those dudes.
He was tough as nails, man.
Vontez Burfict.
That's it. The dirtiest motherfucker.
Mr. Concussion.
Andrew Luck ran through both of them in that game. Yeah,
he was as tough as they come.
It was a certain hit in that game that he took that messed up his ribs.
Yeah, that was the shot from the I want to say on a safety blitz. He threw a touchdown on the same play, but almost died.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck was he was different, man. He was as tough as they come. That's why it was so heartbreaking for him. But I just think
Cam Newton hasn't been used correctly since Carolina. So if he goes to a team that knows how to use Cam Newton, I think Cam Newton could go ahead and be back at the top of the league.
He's washed.
Not right now. Not anymore.
Not like MVP status, but like he could be a consistent quarterback. In my opinion,
washed. He's washed.
You don't think so?
Nah, I think his accuracy is so off. His confidence is shot. Like outside of his athleticism, I think with that being gone, I think it's just like
he's washed.
Man, I just liked how accurate he was on the run.
Yeah, I mean
that's won me a fantasy championship.
That's what I'm saying. Like without that athleticism, his accuracy on the run is like
when he was the starter in Carolina, he was the most accurate quarterback on the run.
Yeah.
Well,
but that was,
like I said, in 2015, he won me a fantasy championship. So thanks, Cam.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean, that was 8
without
years
that,
ago, so maybe
yeah,
you guys are right. You know what?
yeah,
I'll let that one concede. That was a
yeah,
long time ago.
yeah,
He's not
without
as
that,
young as I keep thinking he used to be.
exactly. Yeah, without that athleticism, it's like if he can't be Superman, then it ain't gonna really.
Hey, AR is the new Superman.
And that
Don't wish that
exactly.
evil
That's
on
why,
AR.
and that's what I'm saying. That's why I want Anthony Richardson to be able to protect himself. Don't be like Cam Newton. Be like Lamar Jackson, where you see Lamar Jackson never taking big hits. Gotta
Because
be
Lamar
Be like
Jackson's a blur.
be like Ty. All right.
yeah. There you go. Be like
Little
T-
Do
boy
what
Ty used
Tyler-
to slide
Do
anytime
what
it was
Tyler
about
Lockett
the
does now. Catch the ball, fall down. He doesn't get no yak.
Facts.
Tyler Lockett catch a ball, just die. I'm like, oh.
exactly.
When does OTA start?
Sometime in July
That's a good question.
But there's supposed to be a camp prior to that.
and June.
You have your
Yes.
voluntary camp. That should be coming up, right?
Let me see. I'm gonna.
I think it's like the first week in June.
Looks like that's going to be.
Our comments were quiet tonight.
April. Voluntary is going to be no, so that already happened. OTA is going to be May 23rd to the 25th, then the 31st to June 2nd, and June 5th to June 8th.
So the
So
first
weekends
week in
off.
June.
So weekends off. Nah, 23rd.
And then mandatory minicamp will be July 13th through the 15th.
So the 23rd they start, which I believe, it's during the week. And then
Damn, I have that next week off from work. I'm gonna miss mini camp practice.
I took the 5th through the 9th off, but that's because the baby's due the first week of July. So we're expecting the baby somewhere between the 16th to the.
That's the week I'm off. The 17th through the 21st.
Yeah, we're expecting like the 16th through the 4th, 6th time frame of July. So I took off the 5th through the 9th so that I can take the girls to the zoo during the week because it's cheaper. So that, they can have some good times before the baby gets here. Yeah. That's the only reason I think I'm not going to be able to go to the Houston game this year with Damon, unfortunately. But I'm going to try and hit a college game with him at least. Maybe sometime in like October, November. Maybe go to a TCU game with him.
All right, y'all. I'm getting off here. I got to work in the morning.
Yeah, bro. We went pretty long.
Oh, yeah. We definitely went the distance. But, yeah, we went through the division. Houston, I gave you guys a ton of love, so I'm hoping.
Jacksonville, I gave y'all a ton of love.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah,
Duval.
that we don't do.
I've been talking trash about y'all all week in the AFC
Zach didn't
South
really
battle.
love what Tennessee did too much.
Tennessee.
Me and Matt still think you guys are going to be a steady ship. So,
I think the division is going to be more competitive than what we think.
Our division, is going to be more questionable for us. So, we got to definitely.
Get DC right. Scored.
Yeah, they did. They're going for 2 right now. That was pretty much our division wrap up. I'm not sure. I think it's next week. Matt will be out of here, so we'll try and give you guys something here. Hopefully, it's me and Zach and maybe Trevor Damon will be along with us, and we'll try and give you guys some content. But we'll keep out of the records predictions until the following week. And we'll try and go more a little bit.
We do a great job of doing record predictions, and we have so much fun. And I think me and DeMarco, we disagree a lot. So I think doing the record predictions is going to be fun because we're going to go through each game every week, and we're going to split it up. We'll figure that out on the side on how we're going to split it up. But
yeah,
I'm out.
So we'll get more of an NFL wide. All right, Zach, appreciate you tonight. Get some rest, buddy. But yeah, we'll try and give you guys some more NFL wide content on the predictions once Matt gets back a little bit next week.
I plan on trying to get some guests that are different teams while we do these
because it's more fun when you can get some guys in here that are a different point of view than us. I have a few people in mind that I'm going to hit up for the first week that we do the predictions. I'm going to try and bring a guy in named Jeffrey Lodick. He kind of helped us get this started a few years ago. I'm going to try and bring him in. He's a Buffalo Bills fan, so it'll be pretty fun. We'll use the I think they've labeled it as the playoff predictor website, but they do the whole season. Everybody's seen it. You can go through. You can do it every single week. So
yeah, I gotta remember the one that I used last time. We wouldn't be able to really separate it by division, but it'll go through each week.
No, yeah, we didn't separate it by division, man. When we did it before, we just did straight by, just went in and predicted
week.
every team, every single team, and went through. I think that year we actually had Seattle and Kansas City in the Super Bowl. We got Kansas City right, but I think it was San Fran that made the Super Bowl. But
yeah. So, yeah, that's what we'll have for you guys, and we'll try and keep it coming. And obviously for Colts fans, I think we're on the 12th, 13th. So we won't have Colts anything from minicamp or OTAs or anything like that. So we'll definitely try and put something together for you guys. And then hopefully guys aren't too busy, and we'll see how it goes. So appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight.
If you guys aren't watching, the XFL Championship right now is a 6-point game. It's in the third quarter between the Renegades and DC. It's 26-20. Renegades were up 17-0 at one point, so it's a pretty good game right now. If you guys want to go check that out, please go watch it. It's pretty cool. First championship game of XFL since 2003.
Hell yeah. And they are still 8.5-point favorites, so we'll see how it closes out. But appreciate everybody tonight. We'll see you again soon.
It's always go Colts. I'll miss y'all next week. Miss y'all. Go Colts.
He is going to drop the throw. Fires deep along the right sideline for Alec Pierce. He's got it. Touchdown! Touchdown! Alec Pierce spikes it into the end zone. Touchdown! INDY! A 32-yard grab over the shoulder snag.